Chapter 1754. Who's the Slag? Chapter 1754. Who's the Slag? Half an hour later. On an empty hillside, the Iron Hand Eagle had landed. The captured disciples all dispersed. They all came to thank Nielin, but no one remembered him. Long Fei didn't mind. Nielin asked, "Where are you going?" Long Fei replied, "God Rare Sect." Nielin was startled and said, "God Rare Sect?" In recent years, the decline in strength of the God Rare Sect had been so great that they were almost pushed out of the ranks of the 10 sects. If they were to lose this year's newbie battle, they would really be pushed down. Nielin said with good intentions, "Why don't you follow me to the Xianyang sect? With your cultivation talent, I believe that the Xianyang sect will accept you." She was very optimistic about Long Fei. Moreover, what she said was not an ordinary acceptance, but an inner sect disciple. Long Fei said, "Thank you, but I still have to go to the God Rare sect. After all, I am a disciple that they have recruited. If I go to another sect, it will cause unnecessary trouble." God Rare sect had to enter. Even if it was a trash sect, Long Fei would still enter. He had to find a way to leave the Devil Island and find information about his mother. Seeing the resolution in Long Fei's eyes, Nielin did not try to force it and said, "Then I will not force it. If you do not pass God Rare Sect's test, then come to Xianyang sect to find me." Then, Nielin felt that he had said the wrong thing and laughed. "I'm kidding, with your talent, how could you not pass the assessment? Long Fei. We shall meet at the exchange meeting of the new disciples of 10 sections." Nielin said seriously. She believed that Long Fei would definitely appear at the tournament. It would become her rival. Even. She would become her most powerful opponent. The punch was split in half. Adding on the strange woman that Long Fei had summoned, the layers of cultivation technique was something that he had never seen before. Long Fei cupped his fists and said, "We will meet again if fate wills it." Nielin leapt onto the Iron Hand Eagle with one step, and flew away with a few other disciples of the Xianyang sect. So powerful! Is the 10 disciples this strong? Long Fei was secretly shocked. Ever since he had entered the ancient holy battlefield, he did not feel that they were very strong, but after meeting Nielin, he realized that those people he had met before were trash. The real powerhouses were all inside the 10 sections. She was only ranked 3rd. How strong was the 10 disciples? It looks like 10 sects is pretty fun. Long Fei smiled slightly. At this moment, the 2 elders who were about to leave with their disciples stopped in their tracks. Long Fei had also noticed it long ago. They were also God Rare Sect's envoys. That elder walked forward and said, "Little brother, I just heard you say that you were going to the God Rare sect?" Long Fei nodded his head, and the elder laughed. "Then come with us and be our companion. It's just that we don't have any Iron Hand Eagles, so we can only rely on our feet to walk. However, we should be able to make it in time for the assessment." Long Fei said, "Thank you, elder." "Ha ha ha! We still have to thank you. If not for you sending the people of Xiao Yao Palace flying, I'm afraid that we would have already reached the Xiao Yao Palace. The consequences would be hard to imagine." He smiled slightly. "Yeah. We should thank you." Long Fei joined them, and headed straight towards God Rare Sect. Along the way, the messenger told Long Fei everything about the God Rare Sect. "Elder, did Flying Goddess really fly out of Devil Island? No one knows the specifics of this matter. In any case. But of course, she left behind a lot of assets. All of these things made the God Rare Sect only be able to become one of the 10 sects in a short few years, and after 1,000 years, all of the things that the Flying Goddess had left behind have been used up, and our God Rare Sect gradually weakened. Sigh. If we do not reap the rewards from this year's rookie exchange, our God Rare Sect might really be squeezed out of 10 sections." The old man let out a soft sigh. The God Rare Sect had always relied too heavily on the things left behind by the Flying Goddess. To the God Rare Sect, He really needed a person who could carry a cauldron. Otherwise, it would only be a matter of time before they squeeze out of 10 sections. Long Fei did not care about what the old man said after he finished his sentence. He kept thinking in his heart, if it flew up, it would disappear. Flying goddess should be mother. She was the first to leave the Devil Island. How did you do it? Does it rely on the time laws that she comprehended? Long Fei's mind was filled with questions. He really wanted to know everything, but he had to walk through it step by step to find out. He couldn't help it. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, looked at the sky and thought, Mother, I will definitely find you. Right. Elder, doesn't God Rare Sect have flying crane? It could travel 1,000 miles with just a single thought. With such a godly crane, why would it not fly out of Devil Island? What about entering the ancient holy battlefield to earn merits, and then reviving the God Rare Sect? Long Fei asked. The elder laughed bitterly. Flying crane? It has not appeared for hundreds of years, so even Sect Master himself would not know whether it actually exists or not. Also, even if there is a flying crane, we can't leave the Devil Island. Because the people of our Devil Islands are all people that have been cursed by gods, and this continent is also a continent that has been cursed by God. Long Fei's heart sank. Phew. From the looks of it, there was a huge barrier at the edge of Devil Island's limit. This should be. It was established by a sovereign, right? Chapter 1755. We're arrogant, how can that be? Chapter 1755. We're arrogant, how can that be? Master. Brother Fei. Big brother Long Fei. Long Fei, you're still alive? In an instant, Lu Qin and Mu Bing immediately ran over. They were so excited that they were about to cry. Lei Jiu Li Ruhua also walked over. Tang Lai was startled, and revealed an extremely unhappy expression. Left envoy and envoy of the right looked at each other, and revealed a hint of a smile at the same time. They never thought that Long Fei actually survived Xiao Yao Palace's Iron Hand Eagle. And then, the two of them also walked over. Long Fei, how did you survive? Left envoy then gave Long Fei an identity badge, and said, no matter how you survived, you will be tested immediately. This is your identity badge. Long Fei took the order badge and said, understood. At this moment, the envoy that came with Long Fei to the God Rare Sect walked up, looked at Long Fei and smiled, then said, little friend Long, with your strength, there's no need for an assessment. Do you want me to recommend it to the elders? Left and right envoy's face was shocked as he said respectfully, Elder Xia. Xia Chuyuan waved his hands, not caring about the two emissaries on his left and right, but looking at Long Fei, as if he was waiting for his answer. Long Fei waved his hand and said, I think it's best if I take the examination myself, and use my strength to prove everything. Ha ha ha. Well said. Prove everything by relying on strength. Xia Chuyuan nodded and said, I think very highly of you. Kid, don't disappoint me, and remember what I told you. If you have anything else, you can come and find me directly. I don't dare to say anything else, but I still have some weight in my word. While he was speaking, he looked at left and right envoys. He had seen Long Fei's devil sword before, and had especially reminded him not to use it so easily. Long Fei said, Thank you, Elder. Left and right envoys' expression changed slightly. They stared at Long Fei and wondered in their hearts, what exactly is the relationship between this kid and Xia Chuyuan? The one who was even more shocked was Tang Lai. He was completely stupefied. You actually want to recommend him? What is he? This brat must have given that old geezer quite a bit of benefit. That must be it. Otherwise, with just his rank 3 talent, how could he possibly get the favor of the elders? He would definitely bribe them. Despicable and sinister villains. Tang Lai said in disdain after Xia Chuyuan left. Long Fei slightly raised his eyes, walked in front of Tang Lai and said, Surname Tang, I really don't want to bother with you, but if you keep provoking me, I will slap you to death, understand? Killing intent filled his eyes. Just because he ignored Tang Lai did not mean that Long Fei was afraid of him. Tang Lai was staring at him with thick killing intent, but he was actually unable to move, as if he was being stared at by the god of death. Half a minute later. Young master, young master. Tang Lai's body shook as he reacted. Looking at Long Fei, they had already walked to the examination grounds. He clenched his fists tightly and said, Long Fei, I won't let you off. Hand over your identity token. Name. Long Fei. All right, you can go in now. Long Fei took back his identity badge. 2 words appeared on the surface of the badge, which was his name. In front of him was a door to space and time, which should be a small plane. Long Fei could not help but ask, Clan Elder, may I ask how will the assessment be carried out? Are there any rules? That elder didn't even raise his eyes as he said, Cut the crap. Once we enter, we will know. Trash with a 3rd-grade talent is just acting as cannon fodder. Long Fei's eyes darkened. And then, Leiju was in a bad mood, but he was stopped by Long Fei. Finally, the few of them entered the space and time gate together. Buzz. The spatial gate twisted, as though layers of ripples were spreading out. In that instant, the strong light was so blinding that he couldn't even open his eyes for a moment. Where is this place? This is the examination grounds? How does the examination work? Lei Jiu and Lan Feng started to mutter. At this moment, a few disciples dressed in God-rare sect clothes walked over, carrying disdain in their mouths and said, Heh, right in front of us is Yixian Peak, and there are bandits everywhere. If you want to go, I can lead the way. 100 divine spirit pills per person. Lu Qin immediately asked, Are you God-rare sect's disciples? That's right. Can't you see what we're wearing? We are all official disciples. A disciple arrogantly said. Lu Qin asked, Then is there no one to care about you all like this? Who cares? Who cares? A disciple shouted. Lu Qin said, You are all robbing me. What's a robbery? Are we robbers? This is called a fair fee, should we pay it or not? If you don't hand it over, you won't be able to pass through the Yixian Peak in front and will be beaten back to your original form. Wherever you come from, there will be no return and our God-rare sect won't send you off. Ha ha ha! Muggles, don't waste your time. You guys are simply unable to pass the exam with your current strength. Long Fei looked at the mountain peak in front of him and said, Is that the Yixian Peak? That's right, it's over there. A disciple said. Long Fei said, As long as you pass Yixian Peak, I will pass the first round of examination, right? Yes. Kid, without us leading the way, you won't be able to make it. The disciple sneered. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei then walked out, and Lu Qin and Mu Bing immediately followed him. None of them paid any attention to the 4 of them. Huh! Chapter 1756, Desperate Man, NPC? Chapter 1756, Desperate Man, NPC? Robbery? Long Fei had never played this game before. Hard? Come on, I've never been afraid. The 4 disciples quickly retreated, rushing towards the direction of the Yixian Peak. Mu Bing said, Sect Master, could they be in cahoots with the bandits of Yixian Peak? Why are they also going to the Yixian Peak? Long Fei laughed and said, Since the ancient times there has always been a nest of robbers. Since the ancient times they have always been on the same side as us. We are here for the assessment, not to bribe. If we want to enter the God-rare sect, we must use our own strength, and not rely on these bystanders to get through. Long Fei said sternly. Everyone was startled. Long Fei looked at the steep mountain peaks in the distance and muttered, Bandits? I was really afraid that there weren't any bandits, so I took the opportunity to level up. He was just worrying about not finding a chance to level up. And then, Long Fei brought them to the Yixian Peak. Fuck, hit lousy? I will definitely let you die here today. These trash, offend lousy, watch me deal with you like this. The disciple who was beaten up was very angry. At this moment, from high up in the Isen peak, a burly man walked out. When he saw the four of them, he immediately said, "Four sirs, why have you come? Isn't today's assessment just beginning? This should be the time for you to make a huge profit." One of the disciples immediately said, "Don't say any more. Hurry and call your chief desperate man out." The tall and sturdy man was slightly surprised. He was stunned for a moment, then the disciple with a pig head that was beaten into a pig by Long Fei instantly went berserk, went up to the disciple and kicked him. "Didn't you hear what I said? You dog, you don't want to live any more? Immediately call out desperate man." Bam! With a fierce kick, the burly man was sent flying. Not daring to get angry, the burly man slapped the ground and said, "I'll go right now." He didn't dare to say anything. He didn't dare to get angry. The surrounding disciples of the Isen Peak village were all the same. How preposterous! Against lousy? The disciple said angrily. A disciple asked softly, "Senior brother, is it not good for us to do this? Furthermore, if the things that we do are discovered, I am worried that—" "Pa!" Without waiting for him to finish, he slapped him again. The senior brother shouted, "Are you King crazy? Is this the first time you've done this? With outer door great presbyter here, who do we have to be afraid of? Discovered. Who will find out?" The beaten disciple immediately lowered his head and said, "Yes, yes." Not long later, a man dressed in white with the appearance of a scholar walked out. His body seemed to be moving, his legs were not occupying the ground, and even the wind was blowing. Powerful character. "Milords, what orders do you have?" the scholar asked. That senior brother immediately said, "Kill someone for me." "No. Kill 6 people. Finished." The senior brother looked into desperate man's eyes and said solemnly, "This is the order of the great clan elder." Desperate man's gaze tensed up, and he immediately said, "Understood." At the foot of the Isen Peak, there was a narrow path between the two mountains. Standing at the intersection, Long Fei looked up into the sky, saw a trace of sky, and said faintly, "This should be the Isen Peak. From this moment onwards be on full alert. This place was very dangerous. If there were ambushes on both sides of the valley, it would be very dangerous." Everyone nodded. Long Fei took a step forward as his aura was slowly released. The valley was abnormally quiet. Other than the sound of the wind, there were no other sounds. After Long Fei and the rest walked for about half an hour, Leiju muttered and said, "Maybe they are just scaring us, Brother Fei. It's very safe, there's nothing wrong. Don't let your guard down." Long Fei had not finished speaking. Suddenly, a white shadow flew past. Walala! His clothes fluttered in the wind and then disappeared in an instant like a female ghost. Cold sweat appeared on Lan Feng's forehead. He heavily swallowed his saliva and said, "Did you see that just now? What was that white shadow? Is it a ghost?" Long Fei looked up at his surroundings, shouted, "Don't worry about it, just give it your all to break through. Lu Qin, Mu Bing, you two open up a path. Lan Feng, Lei Jiu, you two block the rear. Ru Hua, you are in the middle. Charge out in one breath. Speed. Everyone, remember, act according to my plan. Remember." Long Fei warned repeatedly. Since it was a mountain bandit, then he could not be let off. He would treat it as getting rid of the evil for the people. Long Fei felt a dangerous aura. Mu Bing and Lu Qin also reacted quickly. They rushed out with all their strength. Li Ruhua, the one with the weakest cultivation, stood in the middle. Long Fei stayed behind. A small team charged out madly just like that. "You want to escape? No way. Rumble! Rumble!" An intense sound echoed from the ancient peak. Long Fei's heart tightened. "Not good, there's a falling stone. Sovereign, be careful." Boom! A gigantic boulder separated Long Fei from them, and an explosive sound rang out in front of them. In that instant, Li Ruhua and the others who were in front of them were also blocked by the gigantic rolling boulder. Shwa! 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 One figure after another fell to the ground. One after another, the sound of their backs' footsteps could be heard. Ha ha! You want to escape? Let's see where you guys can run to. Don't even think about leaving. Ha ha! A group of bandits roared, surrounding Long Fei and the others until not even a drop of water could trickle through. Chapter 1757 Formidable Bodyguards. Chapter 1757 Formidable Bodyguards. They're all a bunch of cowards. Leader, should we kill him now? Or do you want me to bring it back to the village? The desperate man did not have any time to think, and directly said, Bring them back to the mountain stronghold. Remember, without my order, no one is allowed to take action, understand? Yes, sir. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly, and he thought to himself, That's more like it, bring him back to your place, that way I could easily kill him. Just these bandits blocking the road were not enough for Long Fei to eat. However, the aura of the desperate man was very strong. Long Fei's mind was filled with thoughts on how to deal with the desperate man. Other than the blasting fist, he could not think of any other method. And in desperate man's heart, he had always been thinking, just where did he see that kind of gaze before? Why did it appear in my mind? Why am I here? Why? Desperate man frowned, thinking about it caused his head to feel a bit of pain, as if some kind of confined force had locked his mind, causing him to be unable to break out of some memories. It was very uncomfortable. He was a person who liked to earn a lot of money. Whenever there was something that he couldn't understand, he would always think about it. The more he thought about it, the more his head hurt. The bag looked like it was about to split open. From the moment he could remember, he had been working for the outer door great presbyter in this small plain. But why was he here? He only knew that he was brought here by the outer door great presbyter. He only knew that his name was Desperate Man. The rest of the memories were unknown. When he saw the look in Long Fei's eyes that he had seen before, the memories in his heart suddenly opened. His mind was in a mess. Half an hour later, the bandit brought Long Fei and the others to the mountain stronghold. Ha ha! Ha ha! Brat, continue being arrogant. Didn't you say you were pretty unreasonable an hour ago? Now you dare be arrogant again. I've said it before, I will definitely kill you today. It is now in your father's hands, hee. The senior brother that was beaten up by Long Fei walked along Fei's side, a cold smile hung on his face as he stared at Long Fei. Come, let this daddy see how arrogant he is. While they were talking, he slapped Long Fei's face. He wanted revenge. He wanted to return it back to Long Fei 10 times over. However, before his palm could land on the ground, he felt a sharp pain on his face, and his body suddenly flew to another place. It fell to the ground like a dead dog, blood trickling from the corner of its mouth. Long Fei was stunned. Lu Qin and the others were also stunned. Because the one who acted was not Long Fei. The one who attacked was the desperate man. Even he himself was stunned. That slap just now was extremely forceful. Chapter 1758 Strong Second Generation. Chapter 1758 Strong Second Generation. What happened to that person? Why did he save the sect leader twice? That's right. How strange. Don't say too much, let's kill these bandits first. No matter how strange it was, however, things still had to be done. It was just like Long Fei, who did not dare to test again because Desperate Man's first move was absolute killing. He had lost all his experience. Wait until we kill them all. Immediately, Long Fei's speed increased, and the raging beast god punch continued to explode outwards. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 8 stars. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his bodyguard, Xiao Yen, to level 34. Fuck you, mother. I leveled up again. Could it be that if I leveled up, my bodyguard would level up? Bite. Long Fei grinned excitedly. Xiao Yen had leveled up and his strength had increased by another level. He would wait until he reached the peak and directly become a Do-D. Not long after, the entire mountain stronghold was filled with corpses. No one could move. Only Long Fei's group of 6 and the Desperate Man remained. Desperate Man continued to look at Long Fei. The expression in his eyes was complicated. He was filled with doubts. He felt a little lost. Long Fei asked, "Do you have anything else you want to say?" Desperate Man saw Long Fei's mouth move, and in the end, he still asked, "Who am I?" Huh. Huh. Are you asking the wrong questions? You should be asking us who our sect master is, right? Everyone laughed. Desperate Man's face was serious as he asked again, "Who am I?" Long Fei could tell that he was serious. He shook his head and said, "I don't know who you are, no matter how I feel about you." Lei Jiu immediately said, "Brother Fei, you like men?" Lu Qin immediately spouted, "You're the one who likes men." Mu Bing played with the corner of her clothes and muttered, "Sect Master has never allowed us to sleep, could he really be? Sect Master, do you really like men?" Long Fei's forehead had 8 black lines. "Isn't this too dirty? I don't know what else they're thinking." Desperate Man also tightened his chrysanthemum and said, "I don't have this kind of hobby." Long Fei said, "The feeling I'm talking about is different. I feel a little familiar, but I do not know you. This is very strange. I can't possibly say that I have the system, and the light I see on my body isn't ordinary, right?" Long Fei could only say that it felt very special. Desperate Man immediately replied when he heard, "Me too, your eyes seem to have seen it somewhere before. Moreover, I don't know why, but there's a powerful subconscious in my mind. Once you encounter danger, it will erupt and control me, letting me block everything for you. Even if I die, I will block it. I can't control myself. This isn't my idea at all. Just what is this? And who am I? Why would they protect you? Why should I be here?" A bunch of questions. Desperate Man really didn't know. He really wanted to know everything. Long Fei was stunned, especially because his eyes made Desperate Man feel that he was familiar with him. At this moment, his heart suddenly sank, and he couldn't help but think of a person. Mother. The old granny of the goddess sect had also once said that her eyes were very familiar, just like her mother's. Thus, Long Fei seriously looked at Desperate Man as he thought of this, and thought in his heart, "Is this the bodyguard Mother arranged for me?" At this moment, Long Fei's heart felt warm. It was as if a warm current had passed by, and an indescribable warmth filled his heart. This was the first time Long Fei felt the power of maternal love. An indescribable warmth. Regardless if Desperate Man was his mother's bodyguard, there was one thing that Long Fei was sure of: Desperate Man was definitely related to his mother. The same thing happened with the system. Huff! Long Fei exhaled, raised his head to look at the sky, and muttered, "Mother, where are you? Go back the way your mother went." It was as if everything had been arranged. Only the system could trigger the goddess scroll. Furthermore, she had been waiting for him here for so many years. Even she herself did not know who her own Desperate Man was, so all of this was not a coincidence, but a kind of arrangement. Moreover, Long Fei seemed to have made some sort of arrangement. Was this the great prophecy? Or was this fate? Long Fei did not believe in fate. There was only one possibility for him to overturn fate, and that was that his mother knew the great prophecy technique of the Long family. Suddenly, Long Fei laughed softly in his heart and thought to himself, "I suddenly feel like I'm the strongest second generation. My father entered hell, and I estimate that before long, he will be the king of hell. Mother is even more powerful. I have comprehended the time laws, but I don't know just how strong I am now. Others were rich second generations. He was from the second generation. Moreover, he felt that his parents were getting stronger and stronger. This feeling was pretty good. The desperate man was still waiting for an answer. If there was anyone in this world who could give him an answer, he believed that it would only be Long Fei. Long Fei withdrew his train of thoughts, looked at Desperate Man and said, "From now on, follow me." Desperate Man was stunned. Long Fei continued, "I will give you all the answers you want. I'm also looking for an answer." Leiju said in a low voice, "Brother Fei, that's not good. After all, he is the great clan elder's man." Long Fei shook his head. "Don't worry. I believe him." Long Fei said, "You can follow me or leave at any time, but I can guarantee you that I will find the answer for you, and that I will be the only person in this world who can give you the answer." Desperate Man thought for a moment, then said, "Okay, I will follow you." This was his mission. Under certain circumstances, he would go and die for Long Fei. This was his life. She was one of the many bodyguards that Long Fei had arranged for. However, Long Fei's mother, Mu Wanner, was far more powerful than he had imagined. He couldn't imagine how powerful it was. And then, the group of people headed towards the exit. So powerful! The 8th-level talent is too powerful. The first stage of the examination only took half an hour. I have to say, his talent is astonishing. He should be this year's God Rare Sec's new king. This year's 10 Sex Exchange S will definitely have one of his spots. Junior brother Tang Lai, I love you. Tang Lai was the first one to pass the examination. Moreover, he didn't get it by bribing, but by relying on his own abilities. The 8th-level talent was not fake. Tang Lai was elated. A smile hung on his face as he thought of Long Fei. He sneered in his heart, "Long Fei, in this era, it's just relying on background and talent. You are not my match at all, ha ha ha. Just you wait. I will crush you with absolute power." Chapter 1759, Competing Talent. Chapter 1759, Competing Talent. The first trial wasn't that difficult. Most people can pass. However, but there were no such people as Long Fei. What? All dead? How outrageous! Who would be so daring? Halfway up the God Rare sect, in an outer sect, in a huge courtyard, an old man was furious. His eyes were staring at a disciple in the hall like they were bells. The disciple trembled a little. He was well aware of the great elder's ruthless methods and immediately said, "It's the assessment disciple led by Long Fei. Take the disciple test? Just a few disciples from the assessment can destroy my Yi-Xian peak? Impossible. There must be someone backing them up." Great Elder did not believe that just with a few examination disciples, they would be able to destroy his Yi-Xian peak and his 4 official disciples. If it was that strong, what was the point in taking the exam? He directly became an official disciple. That disciple said in a trembling voice, "Great Elder, I am not aware of this, but this is a disciple that I brought back from the Tianyan city. That Long Fei has a 3rd-rank talent, and a woman has not only reached the 6th-rank talent, but she does not have such a martial arts training. Immediately find the envoys that recruited them and investigate in detail." The Great Elder shouted. "A mere grade 3 martial talent trash dares to challenge me? I'm tired of living." The Grand Elder snorted coldly. The disciple quickly left. In the hall, an elder stood up and asked, "Brother Ma, do you need my help?" Great Elder Ma Fenglei immediately said, "It's just a small matter, there's no need for you to take action. The thing I just told you." The elder smiled slightly and said, "Brother Ma, don't worry. I will definitely prepare some things for you. However, the number of divine spirit pills might increase. 1,000,000 at the moment." "Huh!" Ma Fenglei frowned. The elder immediately said, "This is also the Lord's intention." Ma Fenglei smiled lightly and said, "Go back and report to him. I will prepare the divine spirit pill." "Ha ha ha! That's good. The old man immediately smiled. He then wrapped his arms around her and left. Ma Fenglei's eyes turned sinister and he said fiercely, "Old fox, are you trying to raise the price? Just you wait till I get the wind lay level technique, I'll make you look good." Humph! Ma Fenglei flung his sleeves. He was furious. 1,000,000 divine spirit pills was not a small sum. Even if he was a outer door great presbyter, it would be difficult for him to take out. It took him 10 years to find out. He was just a little bit away from gathering it all, but something had happened to the Isian peak, causing his assessment to be not getting anything. Otherwise, it would be enough. Long Fei, right? Little bastard, let's see who's behind you. Against me? I will let you know of my Ma Fenglei's methods. Ma Fenglei clenched his fists tightly, his joints popping out and his body releasing a light yellow qi that resembled battle qi, becoming extremely fierce. It was a huge martial arts practice field. This year's rookies were gathered together. An elder walked up and said lightly, "This is the second stage of the examination place. Also, this is the examination for alchemy, artifact forging, inscriptions, spiritualization, and beast taming. Although these jobs are not as impressive and powerful as the martial arts training, but these jobs are much more noble than the martial arts training. They can more determine your identity. In this year's newcomer competition and 10 sexes newcomer exchange, all of them will be participating. Don't worry about these jobs, they are more important than anything else. If any of you wish to take the test, you can register now." The second round's assessment was divided into batches. Split the examinee into 2. There was still one more stage to the martial arts training, and it was much more difficult than the supporting job exams. Li Ruhua looked at Long Fei and said, "Big brother Long Fei, I want to go." Her martial arts training inherent skill was very clear to her. In the last stage of the martial arts competition, she would definitely not be able to make it. Long Fei nodded, "All right." At this moment, Long Fei took out the God Rare Sect badge that Li Ruchao gave him and said, "This is what your brother left for you. Keep it safe." Li Ruhua looked at the order badge. It was given to her by an adult when she was young. She did not expect that her brother was no longer there. Li Ruhua clenched his fists tightly and nodded. I will work hard. Work together for my brother." And then, Li Ruhua walked out. Many disciples walked out. Long Fei did not move. Lu Qin, Mu Bing, and Lei Jiu did not move. The alchemy inherent skill is low. Don't be discouraged. You still have a chance to refine a weapon or inscribe a formation. Low talent in equipment forging. No talent in inscriptions. All kinds of sounds were constantly heard from afar. No matter if it was artifact forging, alchemy, or spirit communication technique, they all required talent. If one did not have talent, then no matter how hard you worked, it would be useless. An exception would be someone as perverted as Long Fei. At this moment, Tang Lai looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, just the martial arts training is so boring, any warrior would have a supporting job, don't you have it?" Mu Bing stared at Tang Lai and said, "Tang Lai, why are you like a fly, so annoying? If you want to test your supporting position, then go. What are you saying in front of my sect master?" Tang Lai laughed lightly. "Junior sister Mu Bing, I was just casually asking, why are you so angry? Alright, I understand, your sect master doesn't know anything." Lu Qin bellowed, "Young Master Tang Lai, you talk coldly here." Tang Lai looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, what's wrong with hiding behind a woman? You don't even dare to fart? Aren't you 10 rating gift? Go check it out." Long Fei raised his eyes slightly and said, "Do you really want to test it?" Mu Bing immediately pulled Long Fei back and said, "Sect Master, let's not bother with him." Lu Qin also replied, "That's right." Long Fei continued to ask, "What do you want to test?" Tang Lai said, "The spirit communication technique. When he was at the Tang family, He had already tested that his alchemy was very high and that he also reached the 8th-level talent. It was extremely sharp. It was as if he was stepping on Long Fei to emphasize himself. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "All right, since I learnt the spirit communication technique on the way here, I will test my talent." At the same time, the Sleeping Beauty said, "Master, I need 3 minutes to modify it." Long Fei said, "No need, whatever talent is useless to me. Can you let me tame a demon beast in an instant? What I need is this kind of power." The Sleeping Beauty was stunned and said, "You want to do that?" "Sure, but I can only use this power once." "Sure." The Sleeping Beauty muttered in her heart, "But I still have to help you raise all of your supporting positions to the 10 rating gift, hee hee." "Out of the way. Out of the way. Get out of the way. Our young master wants to test his talent in the spirit communication technique. Get out of my way." Chapter 1760. Acting Cool. Chapter 1760. Acting Cool, a secondary job or talent. Alchemy must have a sense of the spirit grasp. To refine a weapon, one must know how to remove inscriptions. Psychic's technique. How to control the demon beast's thinking and make a contract with it. Regardless of which supporting profession it was, one would be considered one of the tens of thousands. It was in existence with incomparable difficulty. It was just as the elders had said, these supporting positions were much more noble than martial artists. A martial artist's talent was low and they were weak. You could still slowly practice with the help of the Hotian realm slaves. Although you couldn't reach a very high boundary, you could at least practice with them. However, these supporting positions were different. If you didn't have talent for supporting positions, you would never be able to step into this realm. This was the disparity between them. Get out of the way, didn't you hear? A few Tang clan disciples were menacing and aggressive. Tang Lai was the first ranker of the first round. The 8th-level talent was revealed. It was extremely mighty and extraordinary. One man gained the right to ascend to heaven as a chicken and a dog gained the right to ascend to heaven. His lackeys were also extremely arrogant. Mu Bing and Lu Qin followed behind Long Fei and said, "Sect Master, you don't need to compete with him." "Exactly. Tang Lai is simply not qualified to compete with you. Master, you are the best in our hearts." The two girls talked non-stop. Long Fei smiled slightly. "Are you all that unconfident in me?" The two girls were stunned. Indeed. This was because they had heard that Tang Lai had an extremely high inherent skill and was extremely powerful. Long Fei was not his match. At this moment, Tang Lai smiled slightly as he looked at Long Fei and said, "Are you going to go first or should I go first?" Long Fei replied, "It doesn't matter." He did not care about talent at all. He had the system, talent and so on were all trash. He did not need them at all. From the very beginning, he could not cultivate with the pubes's broken veins and veins, but wasn't he still from a low plane of existence in ancient holy battlefield? Inherent skill might be useful to others, but for Long Fei? Useless. Tang Lai laughed. "Since you're so confident, then you go first." However, he sneered in his heart, "Kid, watch me humiliate you like this." Long Fei took a step forward. "Put your hands on this beast's head and use your idea to sense its thoughts." Long Fei placed his hand on it, and the idea moved slightly. Half a second later, the black stone at the side revealed a little bit of a weak light, not a single piece. The result was out. The elder said, "Your spiritual talent is low, you are not qualified." Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Tang Lai laughed out loud, pointed at Long Fei's nose and said, "Everyone come take a look, this is our 10-rating gift disciple, ha ha. He's the only one that's returning the 10-rating gift? The 10-rating gift is all-powerful, with this kind of talent, you're still not as strong as me? Then wouldn't I be 100 pints? Exactly. I still have 1,000 tails." Tang Lai stared at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, open your eyes wide and look clearly. Let's see what kind of talent I have." As soon as he finished, Tang Lai pressed his hand down. Half a second later, the glow on the black stone rose higher and higher until it landed on the 8th section. The few elders were completely dumbstruck as they stared at Tang Lai with their mouths agape, as if they could put in an egg. 8 sections of light. 8-level talent. Too powerful. Genius, super genius. The distant left and right envoys was grinning from ear to ear, heh. With the 8-level talent and the 8th grade spirit communication talent, how high will the reward points for this sect be? Ha ha ha. The crowd was filled with amazement and envy. Tang Lai looked at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you want to compete with me? You don't even have the qualifications, do you understand? It's easy to step on someone like you." Long Fei slightly said, "Oh? Is that so?" And then, Long Fei looked at the demon beast behind an elder and said, "Elder, I'll lend you the demon beast." Without waiting for the elder's permission, Long Fei had already walked up. This was a mount. Long Fei walked in front of him, and everyone was looking at him. What does he want to do? Is there something wrong with this person? What do you want? Suddenly, Long Fei moved, his hands quickly forming a seal. With him at the center, a dense amount of runes shone out. They quickly formed a formation, a spirit channeling array. How could this be? How is that possible? Who is he? How could it be such a high-level spirit communication technique? Even no one in our spirit channeling hall has the ability to use the spirit channeling technique. Just who is this kid? The spirit communication technique was divided into many different types. The spirit communication technique that Long Fei cultivated was the reward of the system. It was the divine-level spirit communication technique. Its success rate was multiple times higher than that of ordinary spirit communication technique, and of course, its mastery was also many times harder. Buzz. The fluorescent light vibrated as it fiercely landed on the ground. It immediately enveloped the demon beast rider. In that instant, the Sleeping Beauty's power moved slightly. Buzz. The mount trembled and suddenly stood up, letting out an angry roar. It was no longer docile like before, it had become manic and valiant, and the aura it emitted was even more unbridled. Roar! He let out a furious roar, and in that instant, the mount walked in front of Long Fei step by step, aggressively and aggressively. "Sovereign, be careful. Brother Fei." That demon beast was 4 meters tall and had an overbearing lion king. Its mouth was wide open, and could swallow Long Fei in an instant. Just as everyone was worrying, the Lion King walked to Long Fei's side obediently like a little kitten, licking Long Fei's leg with a cute face. Spirit-beast communication. It's a success. Oh my god, it's only been a few seconds? This is impossible? The surroundings were completely silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. As if seeing a glowing treasure, the few spirit-channeling elders drooled as they trotted up. My lord, how did you do it?" His status as an elder directly called Long Fei master. It was the first time. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "That's exactly what I did." As he spoke, he gestured with his hands a few times. Then he walked to Tang Lai's side and said, "Is the 8-level talent powerful? Awesome? Very arrogant? Still so arrogant?" Her gaze was still as she stared at Tang Lai. Tang Lai's gaze tensed up. One of the lackeys beside him bellowed, "Long Fei, who do you think you are? You were just lucky just now." Long Fei shot a glance at him. "Who do you think you are?" While they were talking, the Lion King suddenly roared at that disciple. He opened his blood bowl and released an extremely savage aura. The Tang clan disciple was so scared that he peed his pants. His face was extremely pale. Long Fei stared at Tang Lai again. "Do you still want to compete? The genius of the 8-level talent? Easy to step on me? Are you qualified?" Lu Qin laughed. "Senior brother Tang Lai, didn't you want to step on our sect master? Who stepped on who now?" 8-level talent? Ha ha. Grade 8 trash talent is more or less the same. At this moment, the Sleeping Beauty said, reporting to Master, all talents have been fully improved. If that's the case, then why don't you act cool? Chapter 1761 Immortal Gift Pack, 8 Immortals. Chapter 1761 Immortal Gift Pack, 8 Immortals. Tang Lai's face turned ugly. He thought that his 8-level talent was enough to trample Long Fei, but Long Fei had subdued the head Lion King in an instant. This kind of ability was definitely above his, and even the Spirit Master Elder had revealed such a shocked expression. It was obvious that it was not that he found it easy to crush Long Fei, but that he found it easy to crush her. However, Tang Lai was unwilling. Tang Lai said solemnly, "So what if we have subdued a demon beast? Your talent is still low, Long Fei. Low-level talent, do you understand?" "Humph. I am a genius of the 8-level talent. Do you have the qualifications to compete with me?" Many people said. "Exactly. Talent determines everything. Just now was just a coincidence. Luck is not your strength." Many people joined in the clamor. The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised slightly and laughed. "You want to know my talent, right? Open your dog's eyes wide and see clearly." While they were talking, Long Fei pressed one hand on the beast's head, causing the idea to move. Immediately, the black stone at the side continued to glow and rush upwards. Buzz! The 7th section. Buzz! The 8th section. The 9th section. Oh my God, it's still rising. Everyone's eyes were fixated on the light on the black stone. In the blink of an eye, it had risen up once again. Whang! It stopped at the 10th section. Long Fei retracted his hand slightly. If he did not retract it, he was worried that the Sleeping Beauty's transformation would be able to break through the seal of the black stone. He walked in front of the pale Tang Lai and asked, "Can this inherent skill do?" Tang Lai's face became extremely ugly. Not waiting for him to speak, Long Fei walked to the side of the alchemy assessment inherent skill and made another move. Buzz! 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 The black stone's light exploded and shot up into the sky. Boom! When he stopped at the 10th floor, Long Fei withdrew his hand yet again. He could clearly sense that his innate talent was not only limited to the 10 rating. Is that enough? Long Fei turned around to look at Tang Lai, gave a cold laugh and said, "It's not enough." He once again walked to the side of the refining talent test. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yet another series of explosions could be heard, and 10 rating gift appeared again. Long Fei turned around and shouted again, "Is that enough? It's not enough, is it? Then continue." The array was carved with 10 rating gift S. Beast Master 10 rating gift. All the supporting positions, a total of 8. They were all 10 rating gift. Awesome to the point of being overbearing, it was as if the sky was exploding. The entire martial arts practice grounds was in an uproar. The entire outer sect of God Rare's sect was in an uproar. Who is this person? Are you crazy? 10 rating, all of them, this. No one fight with me, he is my man. He is a man of my refining branch. Whoever dares to fight with me, I will fight with him. Li Chu, why are you shouting so much? Alchemy is the way of the king. He's a member of our alchemy hall. Damn, his first test is the spirit communication technique. He's from our spirit connection hall. The 8 elders of the supporting occupation pavilion were all red with embarrassment from the lack of money, and they were on the verge of a fight. At this time, Tang Lai felt like he had been slapped in the face. That feeling was too unbearable. He was a joke. He was just a skinned shrimp in front of Long Fei. Meanwhile, Long Fei was dumbstruck. Because, just as he reached the 10th level for the 8th supporting job, a system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward of all 8 elements. Damn! Octopus. It can even activate the reward? Long Fei was secretly excited. The items rewarded by the system were definitely not ordinary. At this moment, a gift box landed on his system interface, and Long Fei clicked on it. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Immortals gift pack. Huh! Great Deity gift pack? It seems very awesome. What is it? Long Fei clicked to have a look, and 8 people suddenly popped out of nowhere. These 8 people were people Long Fei did not recognize, but he had seen it on television. 8 immortals. 8 immortals crossing the sea. Iron Crutchley, Lu Dongbin, Han Xiangzi, Lan Saiha, Immortal Lady He, Uncle Chao Guizhou, Elder Zhang Guo, Han Zhongli. 8 immortals. Each of them brought their own magical equipment. They all possessed extraordinary battle prowess after attaining the immortal realm. Awesome! Long Fei was extremely excited. The 8 immortals have crossed the sea, they are all here. The 8 immortals all smiled. At the same time, they said, "Boss!" Ha! Ha ha! Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear and said, "I do not dare, I do not dare." Then, he thought of something. Damn, what's there to be afraid of? Since the system has given it to me, I'll be their boss. The 8 Immortals Crossing the Sea was Long Fei's favorite television show after he was an hour old, so he was familiar with each and every one of them. To actually see a real person today, what kind of honor was that? The key point was, these 8 Immortals were awesome. Long Fei looked at their battle mode. Invisible? Special space. Only Long Fei could see that the battle styles of the 8 Immortals were all in a special space. Moreover, outsiders wouldn't even be able to detect them. If they could, then they wouldn't be immortals. Long Fei thought. The abnormal system is the abnormal system. To directly give away a big gift pack for immortals, will there be a big gift pack for anime in the future? A sci-fi gift pack? Heh heh. I like the feeling of a big gift pack. Master. Master. Mu Bing and Lu Qin gently shook Long Fei. Long Fei recovered and was stunned. Seeing that Tang Lai was already gone, he could not help but ask, "Where is that Tang Lai?" "Him. If I had left with my tail between my legs, I probably wouldn't have dared to appear in front of you again," Mu Bing said while grinning. Lu Qin said, "Sect Master, you should try to persuade them, they are already fighting." Huh! It was like a woman swearing. It was so noisy that it couldn't be opened. All of them lifted their sleeves, looking like they were about to fight. How could he not have the demeanor of an elder? What's the difference between him and a country bumpkin? Damn, what's going on? Long Fei did not expect such a situation to occur. We are all civilized people. Why do we need to use violence? No one listened to him. Long Fei said once again, "Everyone, listen to me." Still no one listened to him. Long Fei waved his hand and said, "Whatever you want, this daddy here can't be bothered to care, it's best if I beat a few to death." And then, Long Fei was about to leave. Xiaochuan walked over and said, "Brother Long, you are the savior of our God Rare sect. Look at how much they are fighting for you. This is the second time in history." "Huh?" Long Fei asked, "Why is it the second time? Who was it the first time?" Xia Chuyuan said, "Flying Goddess, speaking of it, it's strange, she's the same as you." "Mother?" Long Fei's heart trembled. "Is he really the owner of the system?" "You are elders of the God Rare sect, but you are like a shrew, like a 3-year-old child. How do you want the disciples to view you?" Xia Chuyuan walked over to Long Fei's side and said, "All of you keep arguing. Do you know what Long Fei is thinking? You only know how to compete. What's the use of competing?" Xia Chuyuan said unhappily. At this time, an elder asked, "Brother Long Fei, if you join our alchemy hall, I dare to assure you that from today onwards, you will use the pellets of the alchemy hall for free. It's the same for refining branch. So is the inscription hall. Beast control hall. The Spirit Channeling Hall. Each of the halls threw out olive branches. Using pills for free, what kind of concept was that? This was the first time in the history of the God-Rare sect that this had happened. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. He really needed the support of the medicinal pellets. After all, his blue medicine wasn't consumed without limits. He needed the medicinal pellets to back it up. Similarly, he also wanted weapons of unlimited use. Beast Master, Psychic. Long Fei scratched his head and said, "About that, you guys are making things difficult for me. How about this, I join your 8 halls." As soon as he finished, this. They were all stunned. Not only them, even the surrounding disciples were also stunned. Not a single disciple had entered the 8 halls at the same time. How was this divided? How would they compete in the future? Which disciple was it exactly? For a moment, the 8 of them looked at each other, not knowing what to say. At this moment, Xia Chuan pondered for a moment, then said, "I think that's fine." Everyone looked at him. Long Fei was only speaking casually. He did not expect Xia Chuyuan to actually agree. Xia Chuyuan said, "The 10 rating gift has limitless potential, and it can bring about great reforms to you. Right now what the God-Rare sect needs is reform. The various traditional things in the 8 halls are too old, and need to be innovated before one can walk on their own path in the God-Rare sect. I agree with Long Fei's suggestion to join your 8 halls." At this moment, nonsense. With a loud shake, Ma Fenglei walked out. There were 2 emissaries beside him, and a sneer appeared on his face. Seeing Ma Fenglei, the God-Rare sect disciples and elders all shouted in unison, "Great Elder!" Long Fei slightly lifted his eyes and thought in his heart, "He is the great clan elder. Something's wrong?" Golden light emitted from Ma Fenglei's body. It was incomparably dazzling. Just like Golden Man Boss. Ha ha. There was actually a boss, and for the first time appearing, it was a boss. Moreover, this boss. Long Fei saw that the name on top of Ma Fenglei's head was actually yellow. What did the yellow name mean? This meant that at any moment the boss could turn red and attack him. Thinking about how he shouted from Yisian Peak, he thought to himself, "Seems like I touched his cake, which makes him very unhappy. That's why his name turned yellow. If I can make his name turn red and take the initiative to attack me, then I'll have a chance to kill him." Wanting to fight these. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back. "I'm really too king smart, ha ha. I just want to ask, who else is there?" Immediately, Long Fei said, "What nonsense is this? Why can't I join one of the 8 halls? I'm not joining your hall. What right do you have to stop me?" There was contempt in his tone. Long Fei laughed. "I am a 10 rating gift, an 8 ascendant, you should kneel down and lick me, a super genius like me." Ma Fenglei wanted to deal with Long Fei anyway. When he heard about Long Fei in the left and right envoys, especially that devil sword, he wanted to deal with Long Fei even more. This assessment had caused him to lose a large amount of divine spirit pills, so he definitely could not let it go easily. He was just worrying that he could not find a chance to get angry at Long Fei, but he did not expect that Long Fei would come looking for him. What was this? This is what you call courting death. Ma Fenglei was secretly pleased in his heart. "Brat, you're the one who is courting death." And then, Ma Fenglei's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted, "How dare a thing that doesn't know his limits speak to me like that? Are you seeking death?" Long Fei sneered and said, "You want to die? If you have the guts, try touching me." Chapter 1763, I Can Deal With. Chapter 1763, I Can Deal With. The Great Elder's power could not be weak. A disciple taking the examination actually dared to openly challenge him? This was humiliating him. As a outer door great presbyter, there had never been a single disciple in the outer sect who dared to disrespect him during the examinations throughout the years. Long Fei was the first one. This made him extremely unhappy. Of course, this made him very happy, because the more arrogant Long Fei was, the more he would have an excuse to attack Long Fei. Ma Fenglei stared deadly at Long Fei. Long Fei was also staring intently at the top of Ma Fenglei's head, the color of the name slowly changing. Xia Chuyuan immediately said, "Great clan elder, don't take young children seriously." She lowered her voice and said, "Long Fei, don't be reckless." Lu Qin, Mu Bing and the rest did not understand why Long Fei suddenly changed. It used to be completely different. In the past, Long Fei was a lot more low profile and would always let things go, but now, he felt like they were going to do something if they didn't agree with him. What was going on? Long Fei ignored him and said, "I don't know my own limits? Then does your great elder know how high the sky is and how vast the earth is? I'm not a thing? Then, you old thing, you're the one? How preposterous! How dare you? Brat, quickly shut up. Are you crazy?" Many elders shouted in a low voice. Ma Fenglei laughed coldly and said, "Brat, you're playing with fire and burning yourself to death." He was getting more and more excited. At the same time, anger was surging as well. Long Fei sneered and said, "Great elder, the one who's going to set himself on fire is you. You control the outer sect examination, so how many divine spirit pills do you want to take from the examinees every year? 100 divine spirit pills per person, passed through the examination so easily. Great elder, you are the biggest blood-sucking bug in God Rare sect. Am I playing with fire? Have you been playing with fire for years? You're courting death." Suddenly, Ma Fenglei bellowed. Long Fei's words had already crossed his bottom line. The anger in his heart flared up. At the same time, the yellow name on top of his head instantly turned blood red. It mutated. The boss has now become a monster that can attack automatically. Long Fei's brows were tightly furrowed. He carefully stood up, and said in a low voice at the same time, "You two stay away from me." "Huh! Sovereign, what's going on?" Lu Qin asked in confusion. To offend the great clan elder in front of so many people, was this still the calm and composed Long Fei? He could even do such an irrational thing? She couldn't understand. Xia Chuyuan did the same and softly said, "Long Fei, what are you trying to do? Don't mess around." Long Fei's mouth hooked up and revealed a strange smile as he said indifferently, "You're angry?" Chapter 1764 Boss, go ahead and attack. Chapter 1764 Boss, go ahead and attack. How strong was the desperate man? Long Fei didn't know, but he knew that the bodyguard his mother left him was not weak. Moreover, the existence of the desperate man was one of Long Fei's trump cards. This trump card cannot be easily revealed. He would form a trump card. Then again, what if the desperate man is weak? It would be too embarrassing to die trying to block the bullet. Long Fei wanted to endure it himself. In the past, the blasting fist was unstoppable and no one could stop it. But now that he had finally encountered a crushing defeat, he had to endure it. To do away with everything. Combat mode activate. Boom! Long Fei's body released a ray of bloodlight. His entire body was scarlet red. Humph! Brat, so what if you can use that technique? 8-star realm, not even qualified to lick my shoes. Go to hell. Also, give me everything you have, ha ha! Ma Fenglei shouted in fury. The power of the Prajna sword. The sword imprints surged over from all directions as they crushed everything in their path. Powerful slaughter. Xia Chuyuan's heart was dead silent. He was willing to die to avoid seeing Long Fei die, because he saw traces of hope for the rise of the God Rare sect on Long Fei. But now, this hope was about to be shattered. Sigh. Long Fei, oh Long Fei, why didn't you listen to my advice? Why did you suddenly become so irritable? Xia Chuyuan felt bitter in his heart. A super genius is about to die. Sigh. Why are you doing this? Incomparable pain. Xia Chuan watched as the great clan elder's sword stabbed down. His eyes slightly closed, and did not dare to continue watching. In this kind of situation, Long Fei was dead for sure. How could an 8-star expert be a match for a 9th-stage Green Star powerhouse? The ranks of Devil Island were as follows: Star, Yellow Star, Green Star, Blue Star, Red Star, Purple Star, Black Star, Silver Star, and Venus. Grade 1 to 9. Impossible. Everyone believed that Long Fei would definitely die. The desperate man who was silently hiding in the darkness did not disappear like Long Fei had said. He stared intently at Ma Fenglei, as he would definitely not let Long Fei receive any damage. Moreover, a life-seizing sword appeared in his hand. His level. He was a very terrifying existence. However, even he didn't know. How could the person Mu Wanner was looking for be weak? At this moment, Long Fei was in combat mode, and all of his attributes had increased. At the same time, his fists also sunk. Wang. The explosive power of a deity surged. Raising his eyes and the corner of his mouth, he said, "Enter the attack range." "You're dead." Ma Fenglei laughed coldly and said, "Brat, what did you say just now?" Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Wang. The hurricane burst boxing was already prepared. Long Fei revealed a deathly smile as he said each word. "I said you are dead." One word at a time. Every word was filled with killing intent. "Ha ha!" Ma Fenglei laughed out loud. "You are right, you are dead." The sword stabbed down. Everyone's eyes narrowed. At the critical moment, both of Long Fei's fists punched out towards the sky. Blasting fist. Boom, boom. 2 streams of light shot out from his fists, striking from left and right, like tracking missiles. They blasted towards Ma Fenglei. At this moment, Ma Fenglei's sword descended, and its speed was as fast as lightning. Under these circumstances, quick, quick, quick. Speed, speed. This was a competition of speed. If Ma Fenglei's sword strike arrived first, Long Fei would definitely die. He would die first. Under these circumstances, even if he killed Ma Fenglei, it would be useless. Ah! Long Fei glared at him angrily. There was no longer time to summon the Holy Spirit Angel. There was no longer any cultivation technique that he could release. He could only brace himself and wait. His life was hanging by a thread. This feeling was not good. Rumble. Almost at the same time, the blasting fist came down. Ma Fenglei's great wisdom sword pierced down, causing 2 bursts of power to explode outward. Boom. Boom. Long Fei's body retreated explosively. The long sword pierced into his body. The powerful great Buddha palm unscrupulously struck his body, and it was incomparably uncomfortable. The sleeping beauty was suddenly awakened and asked, "Master, what happened?" Boom. Rumble. Ding. System notification. Player Long Fei's alchemy inherent skill has been broken. Ding. System notification. Player Long Fei's artifact forging inherent skill has been broken. Ding. System notification. Player Long Fei's inscription inherent skill has been broken. Notifications sounded one after another. This was transformed by the Sleeping Beauty. It did not belong to the system. The moment the Hanya sword intent rushed into Long Fei's body, his body subconsciously tried to defend, but the innate abilities of the Sleeping Beauty, who was the first to be affected by the attack, were all shattered from the shock. It was extremely uncomfortable. With just a thought, he could destroy everything. It was also because of these 8 talents that Long Fei was so proud that he lived. Otherwise, his mind would have been severed and his sea of consciousness would collapse. Had cultivated Prajna sword for his entire life, and he had already cultivated to the peak realm. Its power was too strong. Poochie. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale as he checked the health point above his head. Ma Fenglei sneered as he looked at Long Fei. "Unexpectedly, I'm not dead yet, but your talent should have already been cut off, right?" You're already a piece of trash, ha ha. Kid! With this sword, I will cut off your life palace. Long Fei steadied himself and said faintly, Great Elder, do you still have any strength left? Can't you feel that you are already dying? As soon as he finished, boom! With an explosion, a hole suddenly appeared in his chest. Blood gushed out. Ma Fenglei's pupils shrank as he shouted, I can't, kid, you, your sister. Long Fei wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He did not care about the few ranks of inherent skill. With the system in his hands, he did not care about the negative inherent skill. Thus, the inherent skills of the Sleeping Beauty had all shattered. Long Fei did not pay attention to them. However, the Sleeping Beauty, on the other hand, was extremely concerned. Even her tears had started to flow. It was not because these gifts were ruined, but because of how much pain Long Fei would have to endure when these gifts were destroyed. It was extremely uncomfortable. Girl, don't cry. As long as you like it, you can still help me change it. Long Fei felt the Sleeping Beauty's tears. The Sleeping Beauty shook her head and said, It's already impossible to change. Even if I could, I wouldn't help you change it. My master, I'm sorry, I forced my thoughts onto you, I want you to become perfect. I'm wrong, I'm sorry, I've made you suffer too much. Fool! If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid I would already be dead. Long Fei was very clear that if not for his inherent skill, sharing the damage, he would already be a dead man now. No, no. No! Save me, save me! I don't want to die. At this moment, the Great Elder shouted and went crazy. Explosions continuously exploded from his body. Every time it exploded, the amount of blood on his head would decrease by a large amount. Finally, the head exploded, and the amount of blood drained from his body. Long Fei grinned and laughed sinisterly. Boss, go ahead and kill him, ha ha! Chapter 1765. The 8 Immortals, Cripple Him. Chapter 1765. The 8 Immortals, Cripple Him, boom! A loud sound burst out, followed by a system notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ma Fenglei for obtaining 2 million experience, 100,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Prajna sword for release and cultivation. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining God's Pill, 1008. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Divine Grade Bone Ablutionary Dan Bead. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Spirit Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. A series of explosions sounded out. To Long Fei, this voice was the most wonderful and pleasant voice in the world. It was simply a kind of enjoyment. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 9-star God. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the boss Ma Fenglei above his level. You have obtained a special reward from the system. Huh! Another special reward? System, you are being too nice to me. Ha ha! Long Fei moved, her heart becoming nervous. What kind of special reward is it? At this moment, a gift box appeared in his system interface. The idea moved and gently clicked it. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining Thunder God. Do you wish to receive it? Rachel. A skill from Fire Shadow? Moreover. Or is it a god? Long Fei laughed. Receive, we must receive. How can anyone not receive Karsi's skills? Rachel. The Ninja Lightning Evasion technique. On top of that, it could also fuse more abilities into the foundation of the Lightning Evasion. It wasn't as powerful as the Divine Lightning Evasion, nor any other techniques. At this moment, the system beeped again. Ding! System notification. Will you fuse the Seism fruit with the lightning cut? Huh! Long Fei was a little confused, Master System, are you really omnipotent? You want to fuse the fire shadow and the thing inside the One Piece? Damn, isn't this a little too overpowered? Fuse! Without saying a word, Long Fei gave the order. And then, Long Fei's Seism fruit and Rachel disappeared, and a fusion progress bar appeared in the system interface. The progress was a little slow, and the system was slowly moving forward. The slower the fusion, the stronger the large object created by the fusion. Long Fei secretly thought, hee, I would actually like to see what kind of thing you can fuse with. Just as Long Fei was about to reveal something in his drunken state, the entire world seemed to have become extremely quiet. Everyone was staring at Long Fei, not even blinking an eye. He killed the Great Elder with a single punch. It was like a dream. This was too unbelievable. At the same time that they were shocked, the anger in the hearts of many people surged. An examination disciple actually killed the Great Elder. Was he really here for the assessment? Or could it be that Long Fei had come prepared for the Great Clan Elder? Suddenly, where is the law enforcement hall? An elder shouted loudly. Ha! A disciple of the law enforcement hall shouted and rushed out. It instantly surrounded Long Fei. Lu Qin, Mu Bing, Lei Jiu and Li Ruhua all quickly rushed towards Long Fei. Sovereign, sovereign. Master. Mu Bing shouted for a few times before he finally reacted. After being stunned for a moment, he asked, "What's wrong?" Seeing that he was surrounded, his eyebrows sunk. He immediately understood what had happened and took a step forward. What did I do wrong? It was the Great Elder who wanted to kill me. He attacked me first. Standing here for him to kill? Exactly. Is there anything else that can be reasoned with in God Rare Sect? It was obviously the Great Elder who made the first move. Now that he has been killed, we have to group attack. Are you being reasonable or not? So many people are watching. Lu Qin and Mu Bing quickly explained. The Elder shouted, "So what if the Great Clan Elder attacked first? I suspect that you are a spy from another sect. What is your purpose for coming to God Rare Sect? Speak." A cesspool was caught. To let a outer door great presbyter be killed by a disciple taking the examination, what kind of insult was this? To the entire God Rare Sect, this was a form of humiliation. This proved how strong Long Fei was. They only thought that they had been humiliated. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "What a good shit bowl. I came to the God Rare Sect in order to become a disciple of the God Rare Sect, but I didn't expect me to actually be said to be a disciple of another sect. If you have the guts, come and get it. I am Long Fei, accept them all. F***ck. Long Fei roared, "This old one has never been afraid. Not afraid, not afraid. If you want to play, I'll play with you until the end." The corners of the Elder's eyes twitched. This is too arrogant. You've completely lost your talent. Do you really think you have the qualifications to be arrogant? A mere God realm cultivator, an existence akin to an ant. Today, I want to see how much more savage you can be. As soon as he finished, a gust of wind swept over, and the figure was as fast as ye may, making it difficult to see his movements clearly. Xia Chuyuan reacted and shouted, "Second Elder, stop." However, without waiting for him to finish speaking, the Elder swung his palm towards Long Fei's head. Lu Qin blocked in front of Long Fei and took out his sword. "Get out of my way." Boom! His aura was like a raging tide, directly pushing Lu Qin back from the impact and causing him to fall to the ground, his face extremely pale. Long Fei saw this and his anger surged. "You F***king touched my woman? Even the gods can't save you." He could not even see the shadow of an elder, and his speed was simply too fast, which was not something he could handle, but... Long Fei rushed forward. What is he doing? Is he courting death? Or should I say, did he just use that move again? It doesn't look like it. The second elder and the great elder's cultivations are equal. That boy is definitely going to die. The blasting fist was cooling. Long Fei's own level was thousands of miles away from that elder's. He wasn't a match at all. However, he had the system. Sensing the strong gale rushing towards them, Long Fei's idea exploded and shouted loudly, "8 immortals, come out together! Kill him for me!" Buzz! The 8 immortals charged out. Lu Dongbin's sword pierced through the void. The elder didn't even have time to react before his body sank down from the sky and he shouted, "Who are you?" Iron Crutchley laughed like a Mithraea. "Eat my crutch." Crack! The second elder's leg was broken as soon as the iron sword was thrown. "Eat my donkey hooves." Elder Zhang was little donkey suddenly moved and directly kicked the second elder onto the ground. Following that, the 8 immortals encircled him. Punches and kicks. Inhumane. Long Fei was completely dumbfounded. His heart was shaken. Fuck! These were the 8 immortals? It's a black art. Isn't that too cruel? However, I like it. Chapter 1766, First Disciple, Fang Tianhan. Chapter 1766, First Disciple, Fang Tianhan. Too brutal. The 8 immortals were absolutely miserable. His face was bruised and swollen. He was covered in wounds. The key point was that the second elder was screaming on the ground. Other than him being able to see the 8 immortals, no one else could. It was as if he was going insane. "Who are you? Who are you?" Long Fei walked to his side and said, "Did you see that? This is how arrogant I am. Kill me." Who killed who? The second elder had been beaten to a state where he was incapable of taking care of himself. The second clan elder stared at Long Fei and asked, "Who are they? Are they humans or ghosts?" He was going crazy. His mind was in a breakdown because he had never seen these strange people, riding donkeys, holding onto crutches, and someone carrying a basket. What kind of strange people were these? Moreover, one was stronger than the other. He wasn't a match for them at all. Were immortals that easy to deal with? The surrounding people were all dumbstruck. They had all thought that Long Fei would die, but the opposite is true. What's going on? What happened? Are we hallucinating? This. They could not speak. Long Fei looked at the last bit of blood on the second elder's head and said, "So what if you touch my woman? I too will kill him." "Stop! Long Fei, stop!" A large group of people had arrived in the sky. Seeing that, Xia Chuyuan also anxiously shouted out, "Long Fei, quickly stop!" One more great elder had already died, so no matter how one more second elder died, the outer sect would inevitably be severely injured. Furthermore, Long Fei's identity would be redefined. If it really was a spy from another sect or something, then he definitely would not be able to escape death. The second elder laughed sinisterly. "Ha ha ha! Elder of Inner House is here, little brat. Do you dare to touch a single hair on my head? Ha ha ha! You want to kill me? Dream on. When I recover, it will be the day of your death." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei slapped his palm down. "You're so noisy, call me your sister." This slap was with all his strength. In addition to the small amount of HP left on top of the second elder's head, this attack had caused his face to turn malevolent and the wound on his head to instantly disappear. Bah! Whose death date? Long Fei cursed. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Second Elder, for obtaining 80,000 experience points, 80,000 holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Damn! This is the difference between a normal monster and a boss. The difference in experience points is many times greater than a boss, and they haven't dropped anything yet. This is too darned. Long Fei retorted in his heart. At this moment, Xia Chuyuan stood there dumbstruck, his eyes unmoving as he looked at Long Fei. The people in the sky above also started to descend one by one. Every time he landed on the ground, there would be a loud explosion, as if there was a muffled explosion. All of their auras were imbued with godly powers, and the patterns beneath their feet brought with them light waves. These people were all first-class powerhouses, existences of the Elder of Inner House. Moreover, the first impression that they gave Long Fei was that they couldn't kill him, even if it was the blasting fist. Even killing Ma Fenglei would be difficult with the blasting fist, so dealing with these Elder of Inner House would be even worse, unless it was a sneak attack. Devil Island is much stronger than I imagined. Long Fei's heart tightened. At this moment, a young disciple rushed forward and struck out with his palm towards Long Fei. The divine power around his body glowed with a golden light as it smashed down heavily. Long Fei crossed his hands together in defense. But, boom, boom, boom. His body exploded as he continuously retreated. The bluestone floor on the ground cracked all the way, causing the bones in Long Fei's arms to crack. His mind, consciousness, and mind were overturned. The attack comes with divine light and flames. What a powerful strength! The divine power with divine flames has already reached the highest realm, right? This cultivation is at least at the blue star realm. So powerful! Senior brother is so handsome! The crowd burst into cheers. Divine light flames were similar to the buff effect of an ancient dragon. Each move radiated a golden light. This was the characteristic of a realm. Blue Star Realm. The young disciple looked to be less than 30 years old, but his cultivation was shockingly high. Long Fei retreated more than 10 meters before stopping. The last move he made with his health point. Less than 10% remained. If he used another move, he would die. Immediately. He swallowed a few healing pellets consecutively, his health point recovering just a little bit. With a dark look in his eyes, the idea connected to the goddess scroll, and started to be on guard. Kid, I told you to stop, why didn't you stop? The young disciple glared at him. Long Fei shouted coldly, Who do you think you are? Why should I stop? How dare you be so arrogant? It seems like if I don't teach you a lesson today, you don't know how powerful I, Fong Tianhan, am. As soon as the young man finished speaking, he moved again. He is Fong Tianhan? The #1 disciple of God Rare Sect. A super genius with martial arts training talent? I heard that he broke through to Blue Star Realm 10 years ago. What level has his cultivation reached now? Too cool. Senior brother Fong, teach this kid a lesson. Otherwise, he would think that there is no one in our God Rare Sect. Fong Tianhan. The #1 disciple of the God Rare Sect, one of the most outstanding new generation. He was also the sect master's direct disciple. He was young and possessed extraordinary talent. It was also because of this that he was arrogant and looked down on everyone else. However, it was only natural for Powerhouse to not be arrogant. Also, because he, Ma Fenglei, had become a outer door great presbyter. At the same time, Fong Tianhan was also grateful to Ma Fenglei. Facing Fong Tianhan launching another move, the center of Long Fei's brows tightened. Not afraid in the slightest, he reminded the people beside him in a low voice, All of you stay away from me. He didn't want them involved. Long Fei also slowly stepped forward. Your father doesn't care about whether you're the #1 disciple or some crappy disciple. You want to touch me? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Not afraid. He just wouldn't submit. At this moment, suddenly, Xia Chuyuan appeared between the two of them and took out an order badge from his chest pocket. The token flashed a light that shot up to the sky. Fong Tianhan's face trembled. Sect leader's decree. As long as one was a member of the God Rare Sect, regardless of whether it was a disciple or an elder, they all knelt down and said with a heavy voice, We greet the sect master. Long Fei was slightly taken aback. Fong Tianhan did not kneel down and asked, How did you get the sect master's order? Xia Chuyuan slightly said, Fong Tianhan, why aren't you kneeling down when you see the sect master? The corner of Fong Tianhan's eyes twitched. He stared at Long Fei, then looked at him and coldly said, "I'm not kneeling, so what can you do?" While he was speaking, he took another step and walked towards Long Fei. Chapter 1767 Can I make my move now? Chapter 1767 Can I make my move now? The sect master token could not suppress Fong Tianhan. He continued to walk towards Long Fei. His speed was not fast and could be said to be a little slow. However, every step he took was filled with golden light, and those who got close to him were automatically repelled. They were completely unable to resist the aura coming from his body. He moved out a path on his own. When Fong Tianhan walked to Xia Qiuan's side, he icily said, "You two scram to the side." Buzz! Bam! The aura fiercely collided with each other. Xia Qiuan was directly sent flying, smashing heavily onto the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale white, as he spoke with difficulty. "Long Fei, run! Run! Humph! Where can he go?" A cold smile hung from the corners of Fong Tianhan's mouth as he said in disdain, "Brat, you're still not a disciple of God Rare Sect yet, and you still dare to kill Outer Door Great Presbyter. If you're a disciple of God Rare Sect, then wouldn't you still want to go to heaven? Elder Ma treated me as a favor, so in order to repay him, I'll take revenge for him. At least it can be considered as repaying his debt." He spoke very casually. However, there was a strong killing intent in his eyes. Being stared at in such a way made Long Fei feel like he was a living fish on a chopping block, ready to be slaughtered. This feeling was not good. But Long Fei did not leave. Long Fei said, "He wants to kill me, he's dead. The second elder wants to kill me, he's dead too. Now, you want to kill me too, hee. What will happen next? Humph. You're really arrogant. Just based on what you said just now, you're already going to die 10 times. Fong Tianhan suddenly stopped. Suddenly, Fong Tianhan's eyes turned cold, it was like a beam of light, fading away in the blink of an eye. The chill was oppressive. Long Fei felt as if he had instantly fallen into another time and space. The 9 heavens and 10 earth were filled with killing intent. In this concept space, he was like an ant that was tightly gripped in someone's hand. If he used even a little bit of strength, he would die. Not good. Not good. Very bad. However, but Long Fei could do nothing. The blasting fist was cooling down. The 8 immortals were in the midst of cooling down. And Holy Spirit Angel was completely useless. Even if Holy Spirit Defense was immune to 99% of the attack, just 1% of the attack would be enough to kill Long Fei more than 100 times. Fong Tianhan was too strong. The number 1 disciple of the God Rare Sect, an unparalleled genius of the 10 rating gift. His strength was ridiculously strong. In front of him, Long Fei had no room to retaliate. "Kid, how do you feel about the killing interspace of the 9 heavens and 10 earth? It's great, isn't it? Ha ha ha." Fong Tianhan started to laugh complacently. He was not in a hurry to kill Long Fei. He was just like a cat catching a mouse. As soon as he finished, the expressions of the elder of Inner House S that followed along changed, and revealed a shocked expression. Killing interspace of the 9 heavens and 10 earth? Could it be that he has already mastered it? This is a super divine rank cultivation technique left behind by the Flying Goddess. I never thought that it would be cultivated in a short 3 years. As expected of Fong Tianhan. Who can resist the killing intent of the 9 heavens and 10 earth? This kid is dead for sure. Ha ha. The number 1 disciple of the God Rare Sect, indeed worthy of his name. Many people began to laugh. It was because the 9 days and 10 places killing space that Fong Tianhan trained in was too hard to cultivate. In the entire God Rare Sect, other than the current sect master, no one else could comprehend the first stage. However, Fong Tianhan had actually comprehended it. What did this mean? The number 1 person under the sect master. Sect Master only reached the first stage after cultivating for dozens of years. On the other hand, had only comprehended for a short 3 years, which was enough to prove that his talent was incomparably powerful. In the 9 heavens and 10 earth, your killing intent is extremely strong. Killing intent. The living will die, the dead will perish, and no one can stop them. That kid is dead for sure. Killing intent raged as the 9 heavens and 10 earth madly crushed. Within these killing interspace of the 9 heavens and 10 earth, Long Fei was able to withstand the limitless body pressure. Like the ocean floor that was tens of thousands of meters deep, all of the pores on his body were pressed to the point where he bled. All of a sudden, Long Fei's entire body was covered in blood, and his health point was plummeting crazily. Ha ha ha! Kid! How arrogant! Ha ha ha! Fang Tianhan laughed proudly. Xia Chuyuan stood up, rushed forward and said, Fang Tianhan, stop right there. Long Fei could not die. A level of 8 stars was enough to defeat Ma Fenglei. Second Elder, this kind of person was a genius. He would be the one who would earn face for the God Rare sect in this year's 10 sects exchange, so nothing should happen to Long Fei. Xia Chuyuan did not hesitate to take out his sect master's order. However, he didn't think that Fang Tianhan was actually not afraid. Xia Chuyuan, are you courting death? How dare you command me? Fang Tianhan's eyes stared wide open as a ray of coldness flashed within them, and a ray of red light also flashed within his eyes. A blood-red light. It was just like. It was as if he had been possessed. Killing intent. It was the easiest way to breed inner demons. Once the inner demon was born, he would lose control of his mind. Especially when he was stimulated by some external force, he would become even more manic. However, Fang Tianhan's current state was still under his control. A red light flashed. He flung his sleeves fiercely, and a wave of qi directly sent Xia Chuyuan flying. He snorted coldly, this is the second time, if there's a third time, you'll die. Bam! Xia Chuyuan smashed onto the ground and spat out another mouthful of blood. At this time, Lu Qin and Mu Bing rushed forward, but did not wait for them to pull out their swords. 2 more for abuse. I'm not some man that has mercy on the fairer sex. Boom, boom. The crazed aura directly blew Lu Qin and Mu Bing away. Leiju raised his sleeves and said, I'm going all out. Ah! With a heavy head, he charged forward. Humph! Fang Tianhan laughed disdainfully, a bunch of trash. Boom! Leiju was also blasted out. Everyone was injured, and they couldn't even get close to Fang Tianhan. Many people were excited. Fang Tianhan was simply too strong. At this moment, Long Fei's consciousness started to blur. The amount of blood left on the top of his head was only 2 digits, and it was still falling. His life was in danger. Ha ha ha! Kid. F***ck. You're so impatient to play? You fainted just like that? Too trashy. How boring. Never mind, then go to hell. Fang Tianhan immediately lost all interest. With a move of the idea, the killing interspace S of the 9 heavens and 10 earth started surging. Long Fei's body floated, suspended in midair. One of the elders laughed as he looked up at the sky. It's going to explode soon. This is the first stage of the 9 heavens and 10 great earth. Immediately, Long Fei closed his eyes. He was extremely weak. Can I make my move now? A voice appeared in Long Fei's mind. Long Fei wanted to agree, but he could not say it. Forget it. I'm making my move. Chapter 1768. The Scholar Who Lies with the Wind. Chapter 1768. The Scholar Who Lies with the Wind. The voice came from the darkness, from the desperate man. It came even more from the voice that controlled his consciousness. When he saw Long Fei floating in midair with his life hanging by a thread, he couldn't control it at all. When the killing intent from the 9 heavens above Fang Tianhan gushed towards his heart, his expression suddenly changed. His pupils constricted to the point where they were as fast as wheat, and cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. At this moment, buzz! Poochie! A white shadow flashed past. Fang Tianhan's body immediately exploded outwards, falling to the ground and rolling around. The stones around him shattered, as if he was a heavy machine that had appeared before it had been crushed. Bam! After crashing into the wall, he stopped. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale and his eyes weak. Just for a moment. He could not even see the person. He only saw a string of white shadows, and then that sword technique that he could not dodge. It was too strong, his mind was completely crushed, and even the killing interspace he released from the 9 heavens and 10 earth were instantly shattered. One move of slay. Who? Come out! Fang Tianhan roared and looked around. The surrounding people also had a face full of astonishment, their eyes glazed over, as they looked at Fang Tianhan without knowing what had just happened, and as if everything was a dream. What was going on? Why would Fang Tianhan appear there? Who made a move? I didn't see it. Did that kid make his move? Impossible, he had already fallen into a coma. What the hell is going on? They didn't know what had happened in that instant? Who? Who is it? If you have the guts, then come out. Fang Tianhan crawled up with some difficulty. He had never suffered such a loss before, never. The rage within his heart surged, and he was extremely displeased. He was God Rare Sect's #1 disciple. He was the strongest disciple in the God Rare Sect for several hundred years. Right now, the God Rare Sect was relying on him to keep up appearances. Who would dare to make a move on him? His current sorry state had caused him to lose a lot of face, and in that instant, Fang Tianhan fiercely rushed out. Bastard, then he must die. Whoosh 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 whoosh. His speed was like the wind, constantly flashing and changing his position. In his right hand, the sword moved again, and a raging sword intent surged out with a strong killing intent. A blood-red light flashed in his eyes. His eyes were bloodshot. The inner demons were out of control. Fang Tianhan's eyes stared at the unconscious Long Fei and said, "I'll see if you can come out." Buzz! A single sword strike swept the ground and brought it tumbling out of the ground. Bang bang bang! A stream of sword chi that could be seen with the naked eye shot out explosively. If it were to hit Long Fei, his body would be split into 2 halves. Humph! Let's see how you will dodge then. Before he could finish, Fang Tianhan suddenly stopped. He raised his eyes and suddenly felt his heart tremble. 9 days. 9 days, 10 days, who exactly am I in killing interspace? His position suddenly changed. Completely unwittingly, he didn't discover anything and directly entered this kind of killing interspace of the 9 heavens and 10 hells. How strong was this? This killing interspace of the 9 heavens and 10 earth was much more powerful than what he cultivated. This caused Fang Tianhan's heart to sink even further. Who are you? Who exactly are you? To be honest, Fang Tianhan asked the desperate man who he was, and he did not know himself. Moreover, he did not even know what the 9 days and 10 places killing space he had released was. He only knew that he could release it. Especially when he saw Fang Tianhan using this move, it felt like his consciousness had awakened by a tiny bit, released naturally. He didn't even know what was going on. How strong was he? How deep? He had no idea. Buzz. The sword chi released by Fang Tianhan was destroyed, and at the same time, his body floated up uncontrollably, as the killing intent from the 9 heavens and 10 earth poured into his heart. First stage. Heart burst. He knew what it was. Fang Tianhan was afraid. This was the first time in his life that he had felt fear. His face was pale as a sheet. He continuously struggled and yelled, "Let me go, let me go!" Killing intent surged within his body. In the end, Fong Tianhan pleaded for mercy. Let me go, I beg you, let me go, I don't dare anymore, don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me. Desperate man did not stop. Killing intent still raged. Amongst the killing interspace S of the 9 heavens and 10 hells, Fong Tianhan was equally powerless to resist. The surrounding elders reacted. Especially the elder of Inner House that came with Fong Tianhan. They all looked anxious as they said loudly, "This is God Rare sect, if you dare touch him, we will definitely chase you to the end. Let him go. Hurry up and let him go." Who is Fong Tianhan? He was hailed as the disciple of God Rare sect's hope. If something were to happen to him, then the God Rare sect of this year's exchange would definitely be pressured down. Once he lost his position as 10 sects, his future days would be even more difficult. Many elders were extremely anxious. Even Xia Chuan couldn't help but say, "I don't know which lord would like to request that you be magnanimous and spare his life." The killing intent was still surging. It did not stop. Fong Tianhan's body started to tremble as he pitifully begged for mercy. Suddenly, the sky darkened. A flash of golden light descended from the sky, followed by a middle-aged man wearing a golden robe. At this moment, Fong Tianhan released the power that was holding onto his life-saving straw of grass. "Master, save me. Master. The Grand Master is here." God Rare Sect Lord Zhang Sanqian, the #1 person in God Rare Sect Powerhouse. He abruptly landed and wielded his longsword. Buzz! From all directions, the swords beside all the disciples began to hum as they emitted a trembling sound. Shwa! The 9 days and 10 places killing space released by the desperate man was destroyed. Fong Tianhan also fell from mid-air. He was so scared that his face turned pale. He roared and scolded, "You dog, now that my master is here, you must die." Zhang Sanqian's eyes swept the area, stared at a spot, and said, "How do you know the 9 days and 10 places killing space?" Not waiting for him to finish, desperate man stared at Fong Tianhan again. Fong Tianhan truly walked towards Long Fei. Zhang Sanqian's gaze tensed up, and his figure turned into a shooting star. At this moment, a white shadow flashed. The two sword intents suddenly clashed. Golden light shot out in all directions, and at the same time, it bounced off. The cultivation of the two of them was neither strong nor weak. Zhang Sanqian's heart trembled greatly, not because of desperate man's cultivation, but because the aura on his body was the same as the aura on the God Rare Sect disciples. It was just like how the desperate man was created from cultivation in the God Rare Sect. Who is it? Other than the great clan elders, there was no other opponent in God Rare Sect that could match him. Who was his age? Zhang Sanqian's heart flipped. However, desperate man moved again. At this moment, Zhang Sanqian's expression changed greatly. Second stage of the 9 days and 10 places killing space. Chapter 1769 Detention. Chapter 1769 Detention. How is this possible? Impossible. Zhang Sanqian's face changed. He knew better than anyone how difficult it was to cultivate the 9 days and 10 places killing space. It took him 30 years to cultivate to the second stage, but he had only just entered the second stage, and the killing interspace that was released by the desperate man was completely above him, reaching such a level of purity. This was a peerless cultivation technique that was left behind by the Flying Goddess. Other than the people from the God Rare Sect, no one had ever cultivated it before. How could he? Zhang Sanqian did not understand. He couldn't understand either. However, the second stage of killing interspace was not aimed at him, but Fong Tianhan. The moment it was released, Fong Tianhan was instantly dumbfounded. With a putong sound, he kneeled on the ground and said, I was wrong. Don't kill me, don't kill me." His crotch was wet. He was scared to the point of peeing. The killing intent of the second level was more than 10 times that of the first level. The feeling of death strangling him was too unbearable. As long as he used a little bit of strength, he would be able to move his head. Zhang Sanqian slightly said, "Please stop." Desperate Man didn't even look at Zhang Sanqian. He didn't know why. His bones were filled with disdain, and so was his gaze. It was as if he had the feeling that, "You don't even have the qualifications to speak to me." At this moment, Long Fei's eyes slightly opened, and the idea said with sound transmission, "Don't kill him, he's mine." In that instant, with a flash of white, he disappeared. Killing Interspace instantly collapsed and disappeared along with it. It had happened too fast. Fang Tianhan's body loosened and instantly fell to the ground in a paralyzed state. His body trembled nonstop, his eyes were unfocused, and even the inner demon had curled up in the deepest part of his mind, not daring to make a move. After a long time, Fang Tianhan slowly recovered. Staring at Long Fei, he said, "I want to." Zhang Sanqian slightly shouted, "Haven't you caused enough trouble?" His voice was like thunder. With anger. Fang Tianhan didn't know, but he was very clear that if not for Desperate Man stopping him, Fang Tianhan would have already died. It wasn't that he didn't have enough skill. It was only because he received a sudden order that he stopped. "Men, bring him back to Reflection Cliff. Reflect on the fact that he can't leave here even half a step without my permission," Zhang Sanqian said heavily. This was a form of punishment and also a form of protection. He knew his disciple too well. He was young and arrogant. No one could stop him from doing what he wanted to do. If he didn't kill Long Fei, he definitely wouldn't stop. He had to calm him down. Fang Tianhan glared at him. He was unconvinced. But when he saw Zhang Sanqian's gaze, he immediately lowered his head, and did not dare to speak. Long Fei slowly stood up and looked at the Zhang Sanqian who was not far away. Xia Chuan replied, "Sect Master, his name is Long Fei." Zhang Sanqian's eyes turned cold, stared at Long Fei for a moment, then said, "First lock him up, then talk. Who dares to touch my sect head? I'll fight it out with him." Lu Qin and Mu Bing walked over with much difficulty. Lei Jiu also walked over with much difficulty, and there was also Li Ruhua. Zhang Sanqian swept his eyes across them and coldly said, "Imprison them together. Are there any more rebels?" His voice was deep and clear, and the sound waves resounded in everyone's mind like thunder. All of the surrounding disciples were startled, and did not dare to make the slightest sound. It also revealed a look of not knowing Long Fei at all. Xia Chuyuan wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, Zhang Sanqian shouted, "Where is the law enforcement hall? Why are you still not executing orders? No one can get close to them without my orders, do you understand?" "Ha!" The disciples of the law enforcement hall all rushed to Long Fei's side. Lu Qin and Mu Bing looked towards Long Fei. Long Fei shook his head, signaling them not to resist. His life was already hanging by a thread, and he needed some time to recover. If they resisted now, they would all die. Moreover, Zhang Sanqian only said that he would imprison them, he didn't say that he would kill them. As for Fang Tianhan, we won't be able to touch him for a month. 1 month later. I don't know who moves who. Long Fei did not resist, but he was also unable to do so at the moment. Today's examination will continue, Zhang Sanqian said as he looked at Xia Chuyuan, and then returned to the inner sect of God Rare Sect. Lan Feng, you cowardly bastard! Lei Jiu scolded. Lan Feng said with a cold smile, "Ninth brother, if you're willing to follow Long Fei, you don't even want your own future. I can't do it, I must become the God Rare Sect's disciple. Just follow him and suffer." Ha ha ha! Lan Feng walked into the second test team. He didn't want to be a victim. To him, Lei Jiu and the others were already unable to become disciples of the God Rare Sect. "Young master, Long Fei has been captured. Moreover, all of his talent has been wasted. Right now, he's a cripple. After Tang Lai was crushed by Long Fei, he left the examination grounds. However, in just half an hour so many things had happened. Tang Lai's eyes flashed as he laughed complacently, as if he had just revived from being full of blood. Ha ha! Long Fei, let's see how you can continue acting arrogant now. God Rare Sect, Inner Sect, Sky Marshal Palace. The moment he came here, he killed the outer door great presbyter and the second clan elder. This kind of person cannot be allowed to live. I suggest that we kill him. I second that. This person must be a spy from another sect. If we were to spend resources to nurture him, then our God Rare Sect will really become a joke. I also propose to kill him. Too much killing intent, and he's too arrogant. Who does he think he is? Several elder of inner houses. There were also a few outer door presbyteress, and then there was Xia Chuyuan. They were discussing whether Long Fei should stay. Xia Chuyuan said, all 8 of his inherent skills are 10 rating, who would send such a genius to be a spy? Furthermore, forgive me for my bluntness, but how many of the other 9 sects in the 10 sects place us God Rare Sect in their eyes? They don't need to send spies to spy on us. Sect Master, I suggest that we keep them and think of a way to restore his talent. He will be the hope of our God Rare Sect. Xia Chuyuan said firmly. Elder Xia, you have to understand one thing. The 10 rating of the 8 immortals' inherent skill came a few hours ago. What about now? He's just a good-for-nothing with crippled talent, understand? How do you raise a trash? He came to save the God Rare Sect. He is the hope of the God Rare Sect. Do you think our God Rare Sect is a trash adoption stop? Exactly. Elder Xia, you should wake up a bit more. Many of the elders refuted Xia Chuyuan. Just as they had said, given that his talent had been crippled, it was impossible for him to fix it. There was no such precedent in Devil Island. Furthermore, there was no such spiritual pill. Recovering talent? Wishful thinking. A trash with no inherent skills wants to become a disciple of the God Rare Sect? Dream on. Chapter 1770, I Can Bear It. Chapter 1770, I Can Bear It. A person who did not have a rank talent was just a piece of trash to the common folk in the Devil Island. No matter how strong your innate talent was in the past, with your talent crippled, you are destined to be a piece of trash who will never change. Thus, this was an era that focused on talent. It was just like the world on Earth where one looked at one's face and looked at money. However, Xia Chuyuan did not give up and walked to the center of the hall. I would like to ask, what is the cultivation realm of the outer sect's second elder? The 9th level of the Green Star realm? What is Long Fei's cultivation level after being crippled? A 9-star deity, right? There's a difference of 2 realms. Let me ask you, among those who are doing this, who among them can kill Green Star rank 9 stage experts? I just want to ask, who can do it? We can't. He can. Everyone was silent. Who could forcefully kill him with a jump of 2 realms? Fang Tianhan can't do it either. It was simply impossible for him to achieve the 10 rating inherent skill. How hard was it to kill someone above your level? In their eyes, this was practically impossible. Killing someone 2 levels higher was even more impossible. However, Elder Xia, he killed someone. He killed 2 elders of God Rare Sect. If we do not take care of him, how do you want the other people of God Rare Sect to view this matter? We should just kill them to get what we want. Isn't it just a disciple of the God Rare Sect who dares to kill? If he becomes a disciple of the God Rare Sect, won't he be killing us all? We can't stay. Everyone was still opposed to this. Xia Chuyuan clenched his fists tightly. Walking to the front of the hall, he suddenly knelt and said, Sect leader, I, Xia Chuyuan, am willing to bet everything. Zhang Sanqian's gaze tensed up. The entire hall fell silent. The majority of the people did not know Xia Chuyuan's identity, but there were some people who knew that he was close friends with the sect master, and that he was even the descendant of a certain powerhouse in God Rare sect. To everyone's shock, he suddenly knelt down. Elder Xia, why are you doing this? You are acting on impulse. Exactly. Zhang Sanxian exhaled lightly and said faintly, let Long Fei become an honorary disciple of the God Rare sect, and cannot get involved in internal affairs of the God Rare sect, and cannot get close to any secrets. Within 3 years, if his performance is good, then let him become an official disciple. If he doesn't want to, he can leave on his own. Xia Chuan immediately replied, many thanks, sect master. As long as you are a disciple of the God Rare sect, whether it be in name or an official disciple, none of this is important. 3 more years. With Long Fei's talent, he would definitely be able to become an official disciple. Moreover, the nominal disciples did not affect any of the selection battles. The elders sighed. Although they were unwilling, they had to accept this. A mere nominal disciple was nothing. Moreover, to make a nominal disciple disappear was too simple. The council dispersed. Inside Zhang Sanqian's courtyard. Elementary, are you that sure that kid is God Rare sect's hope? Zhang Sanqian asked suspiciously. He had never seen Xia Chuyuan kneel for a disciple before. This was great determination. Xia Chuyuan smiled slightly. Big brother, didn't you also place your hopes on him? Ever since you imprisoned Fang Tianhan, didn't you only want to keep him? Subconsciously, Zhang Sanqian wanted to keep Long Fei here. However, at that time, he wanted to know who the desperate man was and why he had to protect Long Fei. Zhang Sanqian was startled, then laughed. Is he really worth our hope? Xia Chuyuan said resolutely, it's worth it. I hope so. Zhang Sanqian laughed bitterly. As the God Rare sect lord, there were many things he could not do. The God Rare sect was withering day by day, the internal elders were colluding with each other, and they were secretly taking bribes. He wanted reform. However, it was difficult to move. Fresh blood had to be injected to change that. When he thought that Fang Tianhan was the person he needed to wait for, he repeatedly failed at the 10 sexes exchange, causing him to lose all face. What made him even more sad was that Fang Tianhan had already slowly lost control of himself and was falling to the other side. He was not optimistic about Long Fei's appearance. With his inherent skill crippled, he was now like a cripple. Even though Xia Chuyuan was extremely confident, he still did not think highly of him. With what did he rise? In just a few days, he would probably be pushed out of the mountain range by some interested elders, who knew if he would just kill him or not. And he couldn't interfere with all of this. Xia Chuyuan was the same. He could only save Long Fei once, but not the second time. Huff! It all depends on your fate. Zhang Sanqian laughed bitterly, then asked, how are the disciples recruited by the other sects this year? The center of Xiaqian's brows tightened and said, the entire 10 disciples has been divided among them. I have not seen the other disciples, but I have seen the 3rd strongest person, Nielin. Nielin from Xianyang sect? Zhang Sanqian slightly said. She is a peerless genius with superb talent in martial arts training. Not only that, she is also a spirit soul realm powerhouse with a Super 10 rating gift. In just 3 seconds, she subdued a rebellious Iron Hand Eagle. In this year's newbie exchange, I'm afraid, the scene of Nielin taming an Iron Hand Eagle appeared in Xia Chuan's mind. Zhang Sanqian was also completely shocked. With this inherent skill and this inherent skill, he is only ranked 3rd. Seems like our God Rare sect is about to become a laughing stock again. Sigh. The God Rare sect was getting weaker and weaker. It was not good for him to be the sect master. If he were to lose this year, his position would probably be taken. The next morning, Xia Chuyuan came to the place where Long Fei was imprisoned and told him the result. Do you have any objections? Long Fei shook his head and said, no, I don't have it at all. Xia Chuyuan sighed and said, It's all my fault that I don't have enough power, otherwise. Long Fei said, Elder Xia, please do not say that. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid the outcome would have been different. I'm afraid we're going to die here. Long Fei was a wise man. Long Fei smiled and said, Elder Xia, there is no need to worry. I will be at God Rare Sect and will not leave. His purpose in coming to God Rare Sect had not been achieved. He definitely wouldn't leave. In the past, he had only found a way for his mother to leave the Devil Island, but now, he had a few more things to add, such as crushing Fang Tianhan. He didn't use a skill, but his own strength to crush him. The boulder in Xia Qiuan's heart was put down, and he said, It's great that you can think like this. However, Long Fei, I'm afraid that I won't be able to help you anymore in the future. Long Fei nodded. I can bear it. Chapter 1771 Impulse is the Devil. Chapter 1771 Impulse is the Devil. Xia Qiuan's intentions were very clear. In the future, he would not be able to help Long Fei anymore. Killing someone in the God Rare Sect and getting the number 1 disciple, Fang Tianhan, to be punished, Long Fei had already displeased many people and many people would target him. Then came the beginning of the ordeal. Not only Long Fei, even those who were with Long Fei would be affected. The moment he stepped out of the cell, Long Fei turned his head and looked elsewhere, and did not see Lu Qin, Mu Bing and the rest. I hope they can take it, then. A disciple walked up and coldly glanced at Long Fei and said, Come with me, I name you junior brother. Name. That was, he would remember a name in the God Rare Sect. Whether or not he could become a disciple of the God Rare Sect would depend on his own luck. Long Fei did not care about titles. He followed behind the disciple and passed through the small path, bypassing the forest, and only stopped after about an hour. The disciple pointed at a thatched cottage not far away that was almost half collapsed, and said, Well, from now on you will live there. Huh! Long Fei was slightly taken aback, then laughed bitterly. Is this the treatment for nominal disciples? That disciple said in disdain, What? Do you still want us to prepare a mansion for you? Kid, what's your identity? If you have a place to live, you'll be burning incense. If you're capable, don't stay. Leave God Rare Sect. Humph. He spoke with disdain. They did not place Long Fei in their eyes at all. That's true. He was an official disciple, Long Fei was only a nominal disciple, and a nominal disciple with a crippled talent at that. In this era where the powerhouse was the ruler, who would respect the weak? Long Fei said, I'll be staying. The thatched cottage in front of them was abandoned, just like before. Not to mention living here, even cats and dogs couldn't stay there, and could collapse at any moment. Moreover, the yard was overgrown with weeds. This place was basically an abandoned place, and some elder must have deliberately made things difficult for him. That disciple coldly snorted and said, From tomorrow morning, you can report to the outer sect storage room. You can leave at 7 in the afternoon, but the condition is that you have to complete the mission you gave us. If you dare to slack off or dare to contradict an elder, senior brother, then you should prepare to receive punishment. Long Fei said, Thank you for your reminder, senior brother, please take care, take care. He did not put Long Fei in his eyes, and Long Fei did not place him in his eyes either. Just this kind of low-level disciple, he did not have much experience killing others. Looking at the small yard full of weeds in front of him, Long Fei laughed bitterly. Fuck, I didn't expect it to be even more difficult than when I was in God's martial continent. It doesn't matter. This little bit of difficulty is not difficult for me. Back then, I was also a skilled worker. He took out a weapon from the space ring and used it in front of the sickle. Treat the weeds first. As Long Fei mowed the weeds, he thought about his future plans. Ma Fenglei should be the limit of the blasting fist. If he was a bit stronger, the blasting fist would have been completely suppressed and would not be able to be used. Level is one reason. Also, the blasting fist itself is also. Suddenly, Long Fei thought that the blasting fist could also be upgraded, and this skill also had a god-tier experience bar. When he opened the system, the fusion of Rachel and Fruit of Shock still continued. Long Fei could not help but complain, "Damn, how long has it been?" After that, he ignored them. Long Fei looked at the skill of the blasting fist, and muttered, "Only the skill devouring can raise the level of the blasting fist, the skill of devouring. It's a skill that I have to learn before." "Sure. Let's give it a try first." Long Fei stopped cutting the grass on the ground and sat down, then opened his own cultivation techniques column. Perfection of Fierce Steps, Virtual Mirror, Divine Beast Fist, Prajna Sword. Let's try using the Prajna Sword first. Ding. System notification. Do you want to devour the Prajna Sword? Yes, sir. The Prajna Sword disappeared from the cultivation technique column, followed by a system notification sound. Ding. Blasting Fist experience plus 100 points. Huh. Although the Prajna Sword has not been cultivated to the Great Perfection stage, it is still a pretty good technique. It only increases 100 experience points? Isn't that too darned? Long Fei immediately wanted to stop. However, looking at the experience slot on the blasting fist, he had the urge to let it level up. Clenching his teeth, he said, "I'm going all out. Dragon Step. Ding. Blasting Fist experience plus 500 points. Your sister. Your elder's skill is at the Great Perfection stage. It's only increased by 500 points, why don't you King die?" Long Fei's heart sank. He was completely stupefied. "Sure. To see how awesome you are." He was too impulsive. Long Fei was impulsive. Raising his sleeves, he was already on the verge of losing control. Killing Sword Technique Devour. Ding. Blasting Fist experience plus 80 points. 10,000 Beast Divine Fist Devour. Ding. Blasting Fist experience plus 800 points. One skill after another disappeared. The more they fused with Long Fei, the more impulsive they became. They simply could not stop at all. Long Fei's skill had been completely used up. The entire skill bar was now devoid of skills. Other than the still fusing lightning cut and vibrating fruit, Long Fei no longer had any other skills. Moreover, he, who had lost control of his brain, became even more furious. Ding. System notification. Do you wish to fuse the 8 immortals? Yes, sir. I'm giving it my all. Ding. Blasting Fist experience plus 500,000 points. Oh my god. It's only 100,000 points, but... Suddenly, Long Fei calmed down, and as if a bucket of ice water had been poured down his head, he instantly calmed down. Looking at the system's notification, his gaze glazed over as he muttered, the 8 immortals, I fused them together the moment I appeared, System bro, can we go back? I was wrong. I'm regretting it now. Let's go back. I'm begging you. The system did not respond. Long Fei really wanted to give himself a slap. He impulsively threw the 8 immortals into nothingness. Impulse is the devil. Luckily the goddess scroll is still here, otherwise he would really be at a loss. He complained in his heart. But after looking at the Blasting Fist's experience bar, he had already reached the edge of leveling up. His experience points had reached 95% state, so a few more skills should be enough to level up. Thinking that the Blasting Fist would level up soon, Long Fei felt better about the loss of the 8 immortals. I'm sorry. The next time we meet, I will definitely control my emotions. Long Fei secretly apologized in his heart. Looking at the little remaining experience remaining in the Blasting Fist leveling up, he muttered in his heart, I need to think of a way to learn more techniques. Where do you find so many cultivation techniques? God Rare Sect should have one, right? Hee hee. If we can go inside. Long Fei was brought to the training grounds. A few room of martial arts training disciples immediately surrounded him. So this is today's punching bag? He's so skinny, how much can he carry? Isn't that Long Fei? It's him. The one that killed the great elder? Martial arts arena exploded once. What kind of status did great elder have? The hall master of the outer sect room of martial arts training S. More than half of the room of martial arts training S were his disciples, so this time Long Fei had entered the bandits' nest. Although Ma Fenglei was not a good person and had exploited them before, but to step foot on Long Fei to seek revenge was something every one of them wanted to do. Some people rubbed their hands together, releasing their battle power. Don't move, he's the live target of senior sisters sparring today. A person shouted. Senior sister? Which senior sister is it? There is another senior sister, senior sister. As soon as he finished, everyone was stunned and did not dare to move forward. At this moment, bam! A loud kacha sound rang out, followed by a series of kacha sounds. These were the sounds of stone shattering. This weight. The scene in Long Fei's mind was already unimaginable. How fat was that? Bawang Hua. Senior sister. Long Fei already felt a chill coming over. But the crowd moved away, but what Long Fei did not expect was that it was not a ton-level female walking towards him, but a sexy figure, and there was even a trace of enchanting beauty in her eyes. This is the Bawang Hua? Was sparring with such a woman a suffering? This is welfare. From his point of view, Long Fei couldn't even withstand a single punch. With just Long Fei's physique. One punch. Big loss, big loss. We're going to lose out this time. Brat, you have to earn some strength. At least 2 punches to the ground would be good. LV Shuangchuan clasped his hands together as though he was worshipping Buddha. He did not dare open his eyes. In the blink of an eye. Roar! The tiger roared. Boom! The dragon roar exploded. Both fists moved at the same time, one fist against a tiger, one fist against a dragon's roar. Both fists pulled the bow and directly struck Long Fei's chest, with an extremely ferocious momentum and an unstoppable momentum. Holy sh*t. Now I finally understand why you're called Bawang Hua. You're practically an overlord. I don't even know what your relationship with the word flower is. Long Fei's palms were drenched in cold sweat, his right fist moving. He was not a man to be killed. Since someone was going to attack him, he naturally had to fight them head-on. Don't be terrified, it's just going to get your revenge. At this moment, unknowingly, Liu Yuanqing's duck voice suddenly sounded out and he said lightly, Long Fei, you're just here to spar, do you know what sparring means? Even if you were to be trained by the senior brother, you are not allowed to backhand, understand? If you dare to retaliate, I will remove your identity as a nominal disciple. I can't fight back. They're just live targets. Moreover, how could a nominal disciple be a match for these room of martial arts training S? The consequences of retaliating would be even greater. S brows tightened. Now that Xia Chuyuan had already been implicated and no one would protect him anymore, if he could not even protect his identity as a nominal disciple, how could he be worthy of everything Xia Chuyuan had done for him? How could he find a way to hide in the God Rare sect and leave the Devil Island? How can I find out more about my mother? Endure. Long Fei crossed his hands. He lowered his body slightly, clenched his teeth, and shouted out in a deep voice, Come! Boom! The punch landed. Bang! When it hit the back of Long Fei's arm, bone-cracking sounds came out, as though it was going to break. Long Fei's body was also blown away. Bam! He hit the ground heavily. His internal organs were tumbling about, and all the meridians in his body felt as if they were breaking inch by inch. His hands, in particular, had gone completely numb and he had lost consciousness. The power of this punch. Too powerful. Moreover, Ba Hua's cultivation was much higher than Long Fei's, but he did not use his realm's superiority to crush her, otherwise, his power would have been even stronger. One punch kill. Instant kill. Ha ha ha. Lose money, hurry up and lose money. A large group surrounded LV Shuangchuan, causing his face to turn extremely ugly. He muttered to himself, I'm bankrupt. The Bawang Hua looked at the distant Long Fei who was lying on the ground and said softly, This punch is for the great clan elder who brought me here to take revenge. It could also be considered a favor to know what was happening. If it wasn't for Great Elder, she would still be in that mountain cave. Even though the great clan elder had brought her to the God Rare sect, and her family had exhausted all of their assets. You don't owe me anything, the Bawang Hua said lightly. After saying that, she also turned around and was about to leave. At this moment, everyone thought that when Long Fei was knocked unconscious by Bawang Hua, he would suddenly crawl back up from the ground and lightly said, I don't owe you, but you owe me. Unless you can let me grab you by the chest. Otherwise, I will not let you go so easily. He stood up as he spoke. Long Fei's expression was a little sinister. This was the first time he was knocked down by a woman. If he didn't get back this round, would he still be considered a man? Just at this moment, LV Shuangchuan suddenly stopped his payments and laughed out loud. I won, ha ha, good boy, I can't wait to kiss you. No one wanted to beat Long Fei up, but he suddenly stood up. The Bawang Hua also did not expect this. Turning around to look at the Long Fei in the distance, she heard the filthy words he said and became angry. Don't you want to live? Long Fei grinned. Let me touch your chest, otherwise I won't stop today. Just touch it. I just want to feel that sensation. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the Bawang Hua attacked once again. Long Fei's gaze darkened. This time, I definitely won't let you get blown away, hee hee. Chapter 1774. The Most Coquettish Position. Chapter 1774. The most coquettish position being sent flying by a woman was very embarrassing. Long Fei's gaze was fixated on the Bawang Hua's every movement. He did not miss even the slightest detail. According to the game's description, Bawang Hua should be one of those violent warrior. This kind of warrior is very powerful, but it has a fatal weakness. That is, only close-range attacks can reach the opponent. If we don't let her get close, she'll be crippled. Long Fei quickly analyzed it in his mind. Any opponent had their own weakness, and Bawang Hua was no exception. However, Bawang Hua should be at the Green Star realm, but Long Fei completely could not understand her speed, so it was impossible for her to rely on her speed to avoid her attacks. If her speed was too low, then what could he do to not let her get close? At this moment, LV Shuangchuan said loudly once again, It's a reopening, we can't afford to lose it, and we have to bet everything we can, the odds are still the same, fast, we can't afford to lose it. A wave of incitement. Immediately, many disciples once again took out their secret stash of money. Motherf **, I'm going all out. I bet 10 divine spirit pills on this one punch. Bawang Hua is already angry, but this time she will not be merciful. I also bet 10 crystals on one punch. Me too. I can't do it, he can still climb up. Me too. In the hearts of gamblers, they would always want to turn things around. S forehead couldn't help but let out a thin layer of sweat. Almost everyone was betting their fists once again. As LV Shuangchuan looked at Long Fei's calm and composed expression, he broke out in a cold sweat. Brat, you have to endure it, ah. Don't say that you can't hold on. Then I will lose so much that I won't even be able to wear my pants anymore. He was very worried. After all, due to her anger, she was especially fierce, and among the outer sect disciples, there were very few who could stop her. A rookie? Or could an injured rookie withstand it? Everyone in the martial arts arena was looking at Long Fei. Half of the surrounding city's fists were staring at him. When Ba Wang Hua attacked, his fists released gusts of wind, which exploded in the air. The dragon roared and the tiger roared. Compared to the punch just now, the power of this punch was more ferocious and surging. This boxing style was purely based on power. The stronger the power, the stronger the strength of the punch. Boom! A punch flew out. Bang, bang, bang! A series of sonic booms rang out. This was the sound of the air being shattered, and from the powerful friction, one could clearly see how powerful it was. He's here. This is the sharpest punch of the roaring dragon subduing tiger fist. I never thought that she would be able to reach such a level in the short span of a month. She truly is a genius in the strength system. Her attacks could only come in close range. This was her advantage, and also her weakness. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Let me touch your chest, let me try that feeling, I will tell you." "You!" The Ba Wang Hua was slightly angered and said, "You still dare to speak dirty words. The punch you just dodged was only a punch, and it was just a coincidence. Now I want to see just how many of your punches you can dodge." In that instant, the Ba Wang Hua retreated. His fist sank. Buzz, buzz. The sound of a door opening could be heard from the left and right sides of the gate. Two waves of energy could be seen with the naked eye, and Long Fei was inwardly shocked. It really is the violent warrior. However, Long Fei smirked and said, "No matter how strong your strength is, it's useless against me because your fatal weakness is that your power must hit in order to cause harm. And my position? Hee hee. You don't understand it at all. Let me touch it. I will show you how to improve it." Ba Wang Hua glared. "You're courting death." "Ah! Fury!" Ba Wang Hua was completely enraged. He released all his power, and the shadow of his fist shot out like a torrential storm. A torrential rain of attack. No matter how hard you tried to dodge it, you wouldn't be able to dodge such a high-density punch. She didn't believe that Long Fei could still hide. Chapter 1775 Senior Sister, Don't Go. Chapter 1775 Senior Sister, Don't Go. Ba Wang Hua did not believe it. The people around didn't believe it either. LV Shuangquan also did not believe it. It was the first time he saw the Ba Wang Hua so angry that he even opened the door to her cultivation, causing him to forget to open it. Everyone in the audience was flabbergasted as they looked at Long Fei. Long Fei's body was like a thin piece of paper. He didn't put in any effort at all. It kept twisting. He didn't even get a single punch. This movement, too coquettish. This was not a cultivation technique. Had played this game for many years in his past life, so he knew that every game had its move. If you were in a good position, it could help you avoid all powerful skills. Adding on the experiences of the two planes, his subconscious had cultivated it to the point where it was as pure as fire. He could completely control the power this berserk warrior released. His body was constantly changing. Powerful fists kept flying in front of him, but they just couldn't hit him. Moreover, Long Fei even laughed very lowly. I can't hit, I just can't hit." He was as cheap as he could be. "Senior sister, your chest is so big, let me touch it, and it won't shrink down. Let me touch it. Just for a moment." Ba Wang Hua's face became ugly, she gnashed her teeth. She could not wait to smash Long Fei into meat paste. In this outer sect, no one dared to speak to her in such a manner. A nominal disciple had teased him in front of so many people. This rage, it was getting more and more exuberant. However, so what if it was vigorous? Her fist could not even touch the corner of Long Fei's clothes. After a few minutes, Ba Wang Hua had the urge to cry. Last year, during the God-Rare Sect's War of Supremacy, she was like this. Her fist could not hit her opponent, and she was defeated by him because of his exhaustion. For the entire year, she had worked hard at cultivating and changing, constantly breaking through the limits, unleashing her strength to the extreme, and defeating last year's opponent. She thought she could go to 10-sex exchange this year. However, right now, a disciple in name had seen through her weak point that was concealed extremely well. Zhang Xian felt unconvinced. However, she had to accept it. This was her weakness. This year's 10-sex exchange did not belong to her again. This year's efforts have been in vain. I want to cry, I feel terrible. Boom! With the last punch blasted out, Bao Hua retracted his fists, fiercely glanced at Long Fei, and turned to leave with unwillingness and grievance in his eyes. It suddenly turned into the appearance of a pitiful and delicate little woman, which made people's heart ache for her. Huh! Why aren't you fighting? Senior sister, let's continue. You haven't let me touch your chest yet. Long Fei shouted a few times, but Bao Hua completely ignored him. If she stayed behind, she would only be mocked and teased by Long Fei. He couldn't even beat a nominal disciple like her. To her, this blow was even more painful than last year's loss in the struggle for hegemony. Even her efforts had been wasted. Hey, senior sister, don't go. That's boring, right? I haven't touched your chest yet. Long Fei grinned. He did not see the Bao Hua looking wronged. If he did, he would definitely want to touch it even more. What a hooligan. Who? Long Fei clapped his hands and glanced at the nearby Li Yuanqing. Li Yuanqing was also looking at him. However, there was something wrong with those eyes, there was a trace of charm in them, the kind that he did not want. Long Fei felt the urge to puke. At this moment, how dare a nominal disciple act so arrogantly? To tease senior sister in public. Brat, do you think that the disciples of our room of martial arts training are dead? Suddenly, 4 people walked out of the crowd. The leader was a young man. He had a handsome appearance and was clad in white. In his hand was a fan. He had an elegant and unrestrained appearance. He walked up slowly. Many people were shocked. Senior brother Guoling. Senior brother has always been chasing after Bao Hua. When he saw that Bao Hua was wronged, he immediately stepped forward. What a man, this is the real one. Senior brother Guoling is so handsome. Many people whispered in discussion. Especially the female disciples, they all started screaming. Bao Hua also stopped and said slightly, Senior brother Guo, this is none of your business. What do you mean you don't care about my business? In the entire room of martial arts training, who doesn't know that I am chasing you? If I let you suffer, I won't tolerate it. A mere nominal disciple is so arrogant, actually climbing onto our room of martial arts training's head to piss and shit, and you're still room of martial arts training's disciples. All of you are just trash. Humph. Kid. Either you kneel down and apologize to senior sister today, or let me cripple one of your hands. Otherwise, you will suffer even worse. Guoling said as he looked at Long Fei with contempt. He was not a Bao Hua. The cultivation technique that he was cultivating, even if Long Fei were to return to his original position, he would still not be able to dodge it. Bao Hua frowned and said, Senior brother Guo, I'll say it again. This is none of your business, I don't need him to apologize. She did not like Guoling. He didn't like it from the first glance. With her straightforward personality, if she didn't like him, then she didn't like him. No matter what Guoling did, she still didn't like it. Long Fei saw through this point with a glance and laughed. Senior brother doesn't like you at all, can't you see that? You're courting death. One of the lackeys beside Guoling shouted. Guoling's eyes darkened. This was the pain in his heart, but, even if he could not catch up to Bao Hua, he would not let anyone get their hands on him. Long Fei's words were undoubtedly humiliating him. Immediately, Guoling became furious and stepped forward. He would not be like the Bao Hua, with his green star realm pressure pressing down with all his might. Boom, boom, boom. Can you walk? Let's see how you will move after being crushed by my aura. Humph. Trash. Guoling rushed forward with his strength. Long Fei's forehead was locked tight. Right now, he didn't have any other cultivation methods other than the blasting fist. If he continued to kill, he was afraid that he would not be able to stay in God Rare Sect. Moreover, blasting fist was the most life-saving skill, unless there was no other choice. If I use it, I won't be able to use it for 24 hours. A voice resounded in his mind. Do you want me to make a move? Long Fei shook his head and said, No need. Desperate Man was also an unfathomable trump card. I have to learn how to carry it by myself. Long Fei's brows were locked tightly together, staring at Guoling's attack. His body slightly sank, and he withstood it with all his might. Boom. Yi Zichen immediately left. Unable to hold back the rage in his chest, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Guoling sneered, He's not dead yet? Let's see how many punches you can take from me. Guoling was as fast as the wind. He attacked once again. At this moment, Bawang Hua moved. At the same time, a line of system beep sounded out in Long Fei's mind. Ding. Chapter 1776 Fusion Success, Thunder Pulse. Chapter 1776 Fusion Success, Thunder Pulse. With one move, Long Fei was not in a good mood. Guoling was unforgiving and attacked again. Moreover, his strength was extremely strong, and he was going to cripple Long Fei. At this moment, the system suddenly sounded out. Ding! System prompt. Fusion successful. Ding! System notification. Congratulations to the player for creating the new skill Thunder Pulse. Do you wish to cultivate it? Thunder Shock. The fusion of Thunderclap and Tremor Fruit? Cultivate. Long Fei did not hesitate. He needed powerful techniques right now. The Seism fruit was very strong. It was the demon fruit with a white beard. Rachel was a Kakaxi move. When the two combined, it took 2 days to fuse together. In such a long period of time, the fused cultivation method was not weak at all. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 experience, 100 god power, and 100 metamorphic energy value. Abnormal value directly increased to full. Long Fei didn't have time to carefully analyze Lei Jin's power. Seeing Guoling rush towards him, his forehead turned sinister as he shouted, Damn it, you think I'm afraid of you? He rushed forward. In the distance, an elder of the Room of Martial Arts training coldly looked at Li Yuanqing and said, Manager Li, is this how you teach your disciple? A mere live target, for a nominal disciple to actually want to take action? His voice was filled with a threatening tone. Li Yuanqing immediately bent his body and said, I'm sorry, I didn't teach him well. I'll teach him properly right now. And then, Li Yuanqing bellowed, Long Fei, if you dare backhand, then your identity as a nominal disciple will be immediately removed. Get the hell out of God Rare Sect. Her voice carried a heavy pressure that directly spread to Long Fei's mind. Long Fei's footsteps paused. His fists clenched tightly. He couldn't leave the God Rare Sect, but endure was not his style. Cluck, cluck, cluck. With his teeth grinding loudly, he sunk his body down and used all of his strength to defend, staring straight at Guoling. At the same time, the fist was covered with lightning, producing a light crackling sound that only Long Fei could hear. Guoling started laughing loudly, ha ha. Brat, your hands are just a live target, and you are just trash that will train for us. Do you understand? Ha ha ha. While laughing complacently, Guoling chopped down with his palm. This palm was extremely ferocious, and Long Fei might not even be able to withstand it. But the only thing he could do was to carry it. At this moment, in front of a body, Long Fei was stunned. Senior sister? The Bawang Hua blocked in front of him, and the power door on his right arm fiercely swung open. He clenched his right fist. He directly threw it up. Rumble. The impact of his strength caused a loud explosion. Guoling was forced to continuously retreat, his arms went numb, his joints became dislocated, and his face turned pale. What made him unhappy was not the sharp pain in his arms, but the actions of the Bawang Hua. Junior sister, you actually stood up for him? Are you out of your mind? After being enraged, he roared angrily, and regretted it immediately after finishing his sentence. He changed his tone immediately. Junior sister, how could you stand up for him? He was teasing you just now. In terms of strength, he was not a match for the Bawang Hua. He also didn't think that the Bawang Hua would suddenly attack and stop him. Bawang Hua slightly said, "He's my live target today, other than me, no one else is allowed to touch him." Many people looked at Bawang Hua in surprise. He was clearly being harassed by Long Fei just now, and he actually stood up for him? Long Fei was also a little confused, but he still said very politely, "Thank you, senior sister." Just now, he wanted to release the thunder tremor. While clenching his fists tightly, many thin bolts of lightning appeared between the gaps of his fists. These lightning bolts were densely packed in the air, like glass cracked. At the same time, the strong shockwave exploded outwards with Long Fei's fist as the center. If the Bawang Hua can't stop it, Long Fei would not sit still and wait for death. Endure was not his style. His personality was unyielding and unyielding. Just now, your ass was bleeding. Bawang Hua did not say anything, nor did he look at Long Fei, and only said slightly, "I'm going to cultivate another type of fist technique. There are too many people here. Come out with me." Huh! Long Fei was startled. Bawang Hua shouted, "Didn't you hear it? I want you to come out with me, don't let me say it a third time." Long Fei nodded and said, "Oh." And then, Bawang Hua walked out with large strides. But it was a little different from before. Her steps were not that heavy, and there were no footprints under her feet. Long Fei looked at her back, and was slightly shocked in his heart. Injured? The collision just now had forcefully struck out of Bawang Hua's body. Furthermore, she did not retreat, nor did she lose her strength. Guoling stared straight at Long Fei and said solemnly, "Kid, tomorrow I will definitely blast you to the ground." "Damn it! Slut!" Guoling huffed and puffed. Being robbed by a nominal disciple in front of so many people. This was such a great shame and humiliation. How was he going to deal with this in the future? Guoling immediately walked to Li Yuanqing's side and shouted, "You need him to spar with me tomorrow, do you hear me?" Li Yuanqing did not dare offend him, and immediately said, "Yes, yes." But Guoling couldn't wait until tomorrow. The anger in his heart had to be vented. LV Shuangquan looked at Long Fei and said, "How cool. Being protected by the senior sister on the first day, how awesome. Kid, you are my idol. Ha ha ha. It's you who made me earn so much today." LV Shuangquan smiled like a flower. She was extremely happy, and then she also followed him out of the training ground. He didn't want to cultivate. It was also at this time. A few disciples silently followed behind him. Bawang Hua and Long Fei walked out of the training grounds. He walked all the way into the forest. Bawang Hua said, "Is there anyone following them?" Long Fei turned around to take a look and said, "No." Bawang Hua slightly said, "You can leave now. I don't need you to practice with me this year." Huh! Long Fei looked at Bawang Hua and asked, "Senior sister, are you all right? I told you to go. Didn't you hear me?" Bawang Hua bellowed, and suddenly he was furious. Moreover, his face turned red. Long Fei said, I'll go. After which, he left in big strides, but Long Fei did not go far. Instead, he hid behind a big tree. Poochie. Seeing that Long Fei had disappeared, she could no longer hold on, and her body sank, as she spat out a mouthful of black blood. Her face also turned pale, and then became extremely ugly, all the while she was carrying Long Fei, wiping the black blood from the corner of her mouth, and said unwillingly, I never thought that Guoling's cultivation would increase so quickly. Junior sister. There are a lot of things you haven't thought of yet. Not far away, Guoling slowly walked out with an evil smile on his face. Chapter 1777. The Good Things That Can Make Him Sky. Chapter 1777. The Good Things That Can Make Him Sky. I just wanted to see what exactly you were going to do with that trash. I didn't expect. The smile on Guoling's face became more and more evil, and he said, I didn't think that there would actually be an unexpected gain. Ha ha ha. I really got lucky today. Bawang Hua forcefully suppressed the injuries in his body and asked softly, Guoling, what are you planning to do? For what? A man, a woman, a small forest devoid of people, what else can I do? Guoling took a step forward and stared at Bawang Hua's chest. Bawang Hua took a step back and said, You dare? Why would I not dare? Junior sister, I chased you for 2 years, but what about you? I, Guoling, have never been able to get my hands on a woman. I'll tell you the truth, I am nothing but a desire to conquer you, but you don't know what's good for you. You actually attacked me for a nominal disciple today, you have caused me to lose a lot of face. Humph. Junior sister, my patience is gone too. I will personally destroy the things that I, Guoling, cannot obtain. But now, hee. I can get it again. Guoling slowly walked forward a few steps. Bawang Hua also retreated a few steps, looking anxious. She was severely injured, and she didn't have much strength left. Right now, he was not Guoling's match at all. However, Bawang Hua was not one to easily accept his fate, and said, Senior brother, if you dare touch me, I will definitely report it to the elders. At that time, I'm afraid you won't be able to stay in God Rare sect. Your dream will be to enter the inner sect, right? Ha ha ha. Junior sister, are you stupid? Do you dare to say the truth? If that was the case, who would not be able to stay in the God Rare sect? I'm afraid it's you, ha ha. Guoling had already thought of everything. How could a woman easily say such a thing? Bawang Hua had an unyielding personality, but she was still a woman. It was impossible for her to say it. Bawang Hua's face tightened as his heart burned with anger. His body trembled slightly as he said, Guoling, there's nothing that I don't dare to do. Guoling laughed lewdly. Junior sister, I advise you to enjoy this properly. Don't worry, I will definitely make you feel comfortable. Heh heh. While they were talking, Guoling moved and suddenly rushed forward. Bawang Hua's expression tensed up, and he suddenly shouted, Help! Guoling laughed and said, Call out, this place is so remote, even if you scream your throat off, no one will hear you, ha ha. Bawang Hua only wanted to find a remote place to heal his injuries. However, who would have thought that? He felt incomparable regret. Bawang Hua crazily stood at his side, his back sticking to the tree. And at this time, Guoling suddenly suppressed down that perverted smile and gulped down his saliva. At this moment, he swallowed a small pill and said excitedly, Junior sister, I will make you feel good. Ha ha ha. He swallowed the pill. The medicinal strength quickly spread, and in a few seconds, Guoling's body reacted strongly, his face flushed red, as he became extremely excited. Ha ha ha. Bring it on. At this moment, the air was filled with thin streaks of lightning, visible to the naked eye. It was as if space had split apart. What is this? Guoling muttered. Crack! 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 The crackling electric light shone out with sparks. It was extremely intense. He turned his gaze, and not far away, Xuana Bai's incomparably light suddenly exploded forth. At the same time, the thin electric light in front of him suddenly exploded, forming an extremely powerful shock wave. His mind and consciousness felt as if the sky and earth were turning upside down, causing him to be unable to stand steadily. Boom! Thunder tremor! Rumble! With that attack, it directly landed on Guoling's body. His body formed a straight line and immediately flew out, smashing apart a few towering trees. The strength was unleashed. The electrical light in the air disappeared, and the Xuan'an Bai's lightning light also disappeared. What Bawang Hua did not expect was, looking at Long Fei in front of him, he asked, "It's you?" Long Fei stared at the fainted Guoling in the distance and was extremely furious, scolding, "I haven't even touched you, and you want to attack me. Who the F***K do you think you are? If there wasn't someone in martial arts arena, I would have knocked you down. How dare you follow me?" F. Long Fei was very angry. At this moment, a few figures appeared outside the small forest. Senior brother, what happened? Such a big commotion? Could something have happened? Let's go take a look. Immediately, Bawang Hua thought about Long Fei's current situation. If he was discovered, Long Fei would definitely not be able to escape the punishment, and immediately said, "Let's go." Long Fei was startled. Indeed, if people saw him attacking Guoling, there would indeed be trouble. However, he wasn't willing to accept this. Long Fei stared at Guoling and said, "Grandson, you can consider yourself lucky today, but..." While they were talking, Long Fei stomped down viciously, causing Long Fei to feel that it was strange. There's obviously no bone, so how could there be a bone fracture? And then, Long Fei laughed wickedly again and said, "Since you like the little pills, then I have a few here for you to enjoy as much as you want." Long Fei escaped out of a pitch-black pill and directly threw it into Guoling's mouth. "This can make you feel good about yourself, hee." The Bawang Hua urged, hurry up, it won't be good if someone discovers us." Her voice was very low, as if she was having a clandestine love affair. Chapter 1778 Stinking Rogue. Chapter 1778 Stinking Rogue. Long Fei would never take out normal things. If he were to take it out, it would definitely be a good item. Guaranteed something that would make Guoling wish for death. Bawang Hua was very curious. What exactly is it? Furthermore, you are too cruel to actually break his leg. She could see very clearly. Moreover, the cracking sound was very clear. Although she said that Long Fei was fierce, in her heart, she wished that she could break his life. He felt very relieved in his heart. Long Fei smiled and said, "If you're not ruthless, you won't be able to stand steadily. People should be more ruthless." "Right. Why didn't you tell me that you were injured? Luckily I didn't go too far, otherwise you would." Long Fei felt a lingering fear. Under that kind of situation, the Bawang Hua was definitely done for. How could a girl meet people in the future? Bawang Hua was also shocked in his heart and said solemnly, "I never thought Guoling was such a person, thank you." "What are you thanking me for? How about you let me?" Long Fei looked at both sides of the Bawang Hua's chest. He had seen large ones, but he had never seen such a large one. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Bawang Hua glared at him and instantly killed him. Long Fei could only shut his mouth and laughed when he saw the murderous look in Bawang Hua's eyes. "I didn't say anything," Bawang Hua said. "That's more like it. Next time, if you dare say that you want to touch something, I will show you." "Right. What's that move of yours called? Its power is so strong, I have never seen such a cultivation technique before. There is a huge vibration and even the air is cracking, yet it also has the power of lightning. It is two entirely different attributes, but it is just that I am not proficient enough." Bawang Hua was very curious. Thinking about the move that Long Fei used, and thinking about his battle with Long Fei in martial arts arena, his heart shivered and he asked, "Did you already know this move? Because your chief steward didn't allow you to use it, so? You're only a 9-star god, but your strength has completely surpassed your current level. How did you do it? Why didn't my fist hit you? Is that really just a footstep?" For a moment, the problem was like a machine gun being fired. She was like that. It was a bit like a Northeast girl. Once they got to know each other, they would talk a lot. Long Fei said, "Do you want to know?" "Let me." The look in Bawang Hua's eyes instantly changed. Long Fei immediately said, "Let me think for a moment." Bawang Hua slightly said, "That's more like it, if not I will teach you a lesson." Long Fei said, "Let's first talk about your matter. You are like a berserk warrior, your explosive strength is very strong, but you have a fatal weakness, you cannot attack remotely, you can only approach them. If there is someone faster than you, or who can attack you remotely, you are dead." "How did I become a berserk warrior? I'm a fighter. Also, what is a ranged attack? Why don't I understand? Are you a person from this world? Are you from another world?" Bawang Hua asked doubtfully. Zhang Xian was perplexed, unable to comprehend the situation at all. Long Fei was also instantly angered. He held onto his head and thought for a long time, then said, Let's first find something to eat, I'm really hungry." He was powerless to continue. "No way. I won't let you go if you don't explain yourself." Bawang Hua put both of his hands on his waist, and suddenly shook his chest. It felt like he was toppling mountains and overturning seas. Long Fei really wanted to go up and play. Long Fei rolled his eyes slightly and said, "I don't understand. Let's fight through actual combat. This will be better and you'll accept it faster." Actual combat. Close combat. A melee fight. Isn't this the same as touching wherever you want? Every part of his body still wants to escape my hands? No. My hand should be the one holding the dragon claw. However, if I could fully comprehend Wei Xiaobao's famous ultimate skill, that would be great. Long Fei's heart began to thump with excitement. His face was full of vulgarity. Bawang Hua looked at him. Long Fei asked, "Why are you looking at me like that? If you do not want to comprehend it and master it faster, then you will only have to fight in actual combat. I will teach you how to move, how to fight against someone faster than you, and how to not get kite." Very serious. Very serious, the Bawang Hua said slightly. "Looking at your serious expression, you shouldn't be speaking nonsense." "All right then. Then let's begin." Long Fei immediately said, "Wait first, you are injured and my cultivation is not as good as yours. We do not need to use too much strength, in case we get hurt, I do not care, I am just afraid that your injuries will worsen." Bawang Hua said, "Come, I will suppress my cultivation." Long Fei secretly rejoiced and thought in his heart, "Why aren't you touching your entire body now?" This time, he was elated, ha ha ha. "I am a genius." And then, Long Fei's posture changed, and he said faintly, "I'm starting." Bawang Hua was also extremely serious as he said, "Come." Long Fei rushed forward with a serious expression on his face. With a shout, he said, "Look clearly at my position." Bawang Hua quickly gazed at the bottom of Long Fei's feet. Success in attracting your attention. Both of Long Fei's hands clawed fiercely, and he roared in his heart, "Long Fei's card, Claw of the Milk Dragon." Ah! Oh! At the same time he grabbed it, two screams rang out. This was not a comfortable moan, but a painful scream. Because at the same time he made his move, Bawang Hua was quick to react, and his two fingers suddenly pinched each other, pressing onto Long Fei's arms. That feeling of pain. It was heart-wrenching. It was simply impossible to describe. Anyone who had tried would know that a woman's technique was invincible. Hiss, hiss. Hiss, hiss. Long Fei screamed in pain and had to praise himself, saying, "You reacted quickly, not bad." Again. Long Fei spoke again as he quickly analyzed the situation in his heart. He thought to himself, "Seems like her chest is her absolute forbidden zone, and she has an absolute reaction speed towards that area. Let's move to another area and try it out." He would never stop until he achieved his goal. Long Fei was just like that. Immediately, Long Fei charged again, saying, "Look at my position." Bawang Hua seriously looked at the bottom of Long Fei's feet once again. Although he did not have any skills, Long Fei's movements was very coquettish, with every step making it difficult for people to fathom him, causing them to be even more attracted to him. She was still lost in her own position. Long Fei instantly appeared behind Bawang Hua and hugged him fiercely. Delighted, he said in his heart, still not succeeding this time? However, oh! Long Fei jumped up at the same place. It was so painful that it felt like his 7 orifices were about to burst out. This feeling, the pain was excruciating. Very good, very good. Your reaction is fast. Not bad, you have improved. Long Fei praised her with tears in his heart. Bawang Hua thought, continue pretending, let's see how long you can continue pretending, you pervert. Chapter 1779, Let Your Chrysanthemum Wash. Chapter 1779, Let Your Chrysanthemum Wash. He looked serious. He was seen through in all seriousness. Next, from time to time, screams could be heard coming from the outer sect of God Rare sect. The screams were extremely sharp, as if they were unparalleled. The screams did not stop until the afternoon. Long Fei sat on a rock and looked into the distance. His eyes were filled with frustration, as if he no longer had any hope in life. Despair. He had never experienced such a failure. During the entire day, he did not even touch the corner of the Bawang Hua's clothes, but he himself. His body was covered with wounds, and there was not a single piece of good meat on his body. Green and purple, it was as if he had been brutally treated, even worse than slaves. How miserable was this! On the other side, the Bawang Hua was smiling like a flower. Seeing Long Fei's expression, she smiled beautifully, pretended to be flirtatious, and said, "Junior brother, teach me again, I really want to teach me something. Just teach me again." Long Fei wanted to cry and said, "This will do for today, go back and properly comprehend it. Next time. Oh, I won't be free next time. There won't be a next time. Never again." Long Fei was about to have a trauma over his big chest. Bawang Hua walked over and sat beside Long Fei while holding back his laughter, and asked, "Junior brother, are you really not going to teach me anymore? You've already graduated, there's no need to teach." Long Fei said. He had to say it. Bawang Hua's learning speed was very fast, and she was also in a flirtatious position. In martial arts arena, she could not hit Long Fei, but now, it was almost impossible to dodge. He didn't know if it was due to the anti-wolves effect. The Bawang Hua himself could feel this point. Even though he had seen through Long Fei's thoughts, he did not dare to thank Long Fei in his heart. Moreover, she had been laughing the whole day while training with Long Fei. In a comfortable mood, people learn much faster. Bawang Hua suddenly quieted down, turning her face to look at Long Fei's face. The blade was ordinary, a bit handsome. Under the afterglow of the setting sun, it gave people a feeling of haziness. All of a sudden, she said in a strange tone, "If you want to touch my chest, then chase after me." After saying that, her face turned red. His heart trembled, and he thought to himself, "Bawang Hua, oh Bawang Hua, how can you say such words? Are you in heat or lust? Are you crazy?" He couldn't help it. She was completely unable to control herself as she was attracted by the unique aura on Long Fei's body. Looking at Long Fei's shoulder, she especially wanted to lean on it to have a good rest. Long Fei's shoulder seemed to be filled with temptation. This was a feeling that she couldn't even put her finger on. Long Fei raised his eyes and was shocked. He turned around and looked at Bawang Hua and asked, "Is that okay?" But right at this moment, Bawang Hua had already run far away. He nodded and said 2 words, "All right." Then it disappeared. Long Fei laughed. "You've gotten lucky again?" He had to say it. Long Fei's body had an aura that could captivate women. This aura was innate, and would cause one to be unable to extricate themselves, causing women to be subconsciously attracted to him. This aura was passed down to his mother. The unique charm of the holy maiden was inherited. Thus, any woman who fell in love with him would be unable to bear falling into it. Long Fei looked in the direction that the Bawang Hua had disappeared in and smiled slightly. Crap! Thinking about what Li Yuanqing had said in the morning, he had to rush back to the gathering to report before 6 p.m. Long Fei immediately rushed over to the miscellaneous department. As a nominal disciple, you have to understand the identity of the nominal disciple. Then, you should understand what you are trying to do. If any one of you are going against me, I will make it difficult for you. Li Yuanqing said fiercely. The matter of Long Fei in the martial arts arena today had caused him to be insulted and scolded by the elders of the room of martial arts training as. He was in a very bad mood. At this moment, Long Fei ran in and said, "Sir Manager, my apologies, I practiced with senior sister too late, and I came back late." Li Yuanqing glared and shouted, "I was talking about you just now. You made such a big deal out of me on the first day. Long Fei, I'm warning you, if you make it difficult for me, I'll make you get the hell out of here, understand?" Long Fei smiled apologetically. I understand. Towards this kind of man who didn't have a duck's voice, Long Fei didn't need to bother. Li Yuanqing coldly snorted and said, "That's more like it." Long Fei casually asked and said, "Master Supervisor, my contribution points today." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish, Li Yuanqing asked coldly, "Contribution points? You still want contribution points? Are you dreaming? Because you came back late, so your contribution points were deducted." Contribution points were very useful in God Rare Sect. It was equivalent to a type of currency, which was even more useful than divine spirit pills. A nominal disciple could also earn contribution points, accumulating enough contribution points to be able to exchange for a quota of official disciples. 5 contribution points were not a lot, but it was a number that many nominal disciples could only earn in a month. Was directly swallowed by Li Yuanqing. Long Fei was indeed a little unhappy in his heart. Many of the surrounding disciples were gloating while secretly laughing. A rookie from the first day still wants contribution points? In your dreams. Why don't you take a look at yourself? Chapter 1780 Endless Scholar. Chapter 1780 Endless Scholar. If I can't touch you in the open, then I'll hide in the dark. If I can't come in the dark, then I'll hide in the dark. I refuse to believe that I can't deal with you. This was Long Fei. Hearing Li Yuanqing's room, a wave-like noise sounded, and it was even accompanied by the sound of whips slapping. It was truly coquettish. Long Fei entered the house silently. Looking at the steaming dishes on the table and the bottle of wine soaked in some kind of animal whip, Long Fei revealed an evil smile. "Deducting my contribution points? Why aren't you eating? Then I'll let you have a taste of Father's power." He placed a medicinal pill into the wine. After that, Long Fei quietly withdrew himself. "Just you wait. As long as you drink, your chrysanthemum will go berserk." Returning to his residence, in the weed hut, Long Fei's stomach was pounding in hunger, just as he was worrying. The sound of light footsteps could be heard. Long Fei tensed up. "Who?" Desperate man walked out from the weeds. 2 wild rabbits who were killed by the sword chi appeared in his hands. He threw them at Long Fei's feet and said, "Eat this, you have to release more chili." Long Fei looked at Desperate Man and said, "You're hungry too, right?" The Desperate Man did not deny it and said, "A little." "Then I'll roast the hare today." Long Fei began to peel off its skin and clean up its internal organs. At this time, the Desperate Man had once again quietly disappeared, giving off a mysterious feeling. Not long later, on the fire rack, the wild hare meat was emitting a burnt fragrance. The fat on the hair was pulsing like dancing fairies, adding some seasonings to the meat, and the fragrance was even more indescribable. Long Fei picked up a roasted rabbit and said, "There shouldn't be anyone around, you should come out to eat as well." The figure of the desperate man appeared out of thin air. Long Fei was slightly shocked. He did not even know how the desperate man appeared. Had he always been invisible, or was his speed so fast that he was unable to see it clearly? Desperate man took the rabbit meat and tore off a piece of meat. It was very hot, but he didn't seem to feel anything. Long Fei said, "Slow down, no one is fighting with you." Desperate man didn't say anything and just continued to eat. He wanted to finish eating quickly so that he could conceal himself, because only by hiding in the darkness could he protect Long Fei from all angles. In these few days, as Long Fei received danger, the consciousness in his mind would control him. This consciousness controlled him, as if Long Fei was the young master. He would absolutely not let anything happen to the young master. Moreover, he had tried before, but this consciousness was unable to expel or defeat him. It was as though a law was imprisoning itself in his mind. How powerful was a person who could unleash such power? Impossibly strong. Long Fei continued to roast the other rabbit, looked at the cold desperate man, and could not help but ask. Last time at the martial arts training grounds, sect leader Zhang Sanqian said that the 9 days and 10 places killing space could only be cultivated by specific people in the God Rare sect. How did you know that? And he's even stronger than the Grand Master? Long Fei really wanted to know the answer to this question. Even the sect master was only slightly in the second stage of cultivation, but the fact that the desperate man was able to release the full meaning of the second stage meant that in terms of cultivation method, he was even more powerful than Zhang Sanqian. Desperate man paused for a moment, then said, "I don't know." "Huh?" Long Fei asked with some curiosity. "You don't even know what cultivation technique you have cultivated?" The desperate man said, "If you wanted me to use the 9 days and 10 places killing space now, I simply could not release it. After you felt the pain within the killing interspace, the subconscious in my mind immediately released a strong killing intent that was stronger than Fang Tianhan, and directly crushed him, allowing him to have a taste of how the killing interspace would be crushed. When Zhang Sanqian wanted to stop me, my subconscious suddenly raised the killing interspace to an even stronger realm, and when everything ended, the cultivation technique also disappeared, as if it did not belong to me." His eyes told Long Fei that he wanted to know the answer even more than Long Fei. What exactly was hidden? Long Fei listened attentively, as he started to analyze in his heart, "Whoever gives me pain will have to endure pain worse than me. Whoever is stronger will be the stronger one, whoever is stronger will be the stronger." Seems like. Long Fei watched as desperate man gnawed on the rabbit's meat. "Mother, I really want to meet you. Did you send him to protect me?" Long Fei looked up at the stars in the sky, his heart yearning to see his mother. At the same time, in his heart, he was also thinking about his father in the infernal realm, as well as the 8 King Kong, and also about Jojo and the others who had their souls shackled by the destiny god. But right now, he didn't even know where the ancient holy battlefield was. Don't even talk about changing the pattern. Even the place he was at was filled with danger. If he was not careful he would lose his life, and the most important thing was that he did not know how to leave Devil Island. Suddenly, a cool breeze blew past. Long Fei was startled. He turned to look and realized that the desperate man had disappeared. Half a minute later, a girl walked into the courtyard with light steps and looked around in shock. "You live in this kind of place? There are a lot of houses in God Rare sect, why would you live in this kind of place?" The one who came was no one else but the Bawang Hua. Chapter 1781 Drilling the Grove Again. Chapter 1781 Drilling the Grove Again. Nothing happened that night. Long Fei really wanted something to happen, but Nothing could happen. Moreover, the Bawang Hua was invincible in close combat. If Long Fei did not use the blasting fist, he would not be a match for the Bawang Hua at all. The next morning, the General Affairs Department. It's already 9 o'clock and the head supervisor isn't here yet. What's going on? Exactly. I've never seen one before. It can't be that she's sick, right? Sick? How could he possibly be sick if he was able to solve the problem with just a pill? It should be something else. Li Yuanqing did not appear. Long Fei secretly rejoiced in his heart. Damn it, you tricked Lousy, now isn't it so great? How is your daddy's 1,000 Li desolation pill? Isn't that great enough? Ha ha! The pellet he had placed in Li Yuanqing's wine was of a very strong attribute. Normally, people would spend 7 days and 7 nights on it, and those with poor stamina would directly die from exhaustion. Even if it was the Powerhouse S, it would still take 3 days and 3 nights. This taste. It felt great. In another place. Pa-da, pa-pa-pa. Li Yuanqing had been squatting in the toilet since the night before and had never left since. Who is it? Who is it? Don't let me find out or I'll kill him. Li Yuanqing roared. When he was dressed and prepared to leave, his stomach let out a series of growls like lightning. Li Yuanqing's eyes opened wide and immediately squatted down again, because he did not take off his pants in time, causing his pants to shit out. He was so angry that his entire body shivered. Big whip whine. Wait! You make me feel bad, I will make you. Crack! Another series of popping sounds. Outside the toilet. Master, what should we do about today's miscellaneous arrangements? You! Li Yuanqing shouted in anger. Can't you see that I can't leave? Pass my order down, and everything will remain the same. Yes, sir. Li Yuanqing seemed to have thought of something, and immediately said, Oh right, let's have that brat Long Fei go to room of martial arts training to accompany him. He promised Guo Ling yesterday. Yes, sir. In another place, disciples' dorm of the martial arts training. When he woke up from his coma, Guo Ling's body was covered in feces. Since Guo Ling was young, he had never suffered such a loss. No, no, no. Me. Guo Ling stepped out of the toilet, then turned around and stepped back. His face was extremely pale. He had no time to take off his pants, and then a few popping sounds rang out. Bullshit. It's no use. It's completely useless. Go and get me the best anti-diarrhea pill. Hurry up. Guo Ling roared. He couldn't leave the toilet at all. Who knows how many times he had covered his pants with sh*t. It had been several days since he had last washed his body clean, and he could no longer smell the feces on his body. You dog! Don't let me find out who sneaked an attack on me. Otherwise, I will make you regret coming to this world. Io! Crack! Another series of explosions sounded. He exchanged for several anti-diarrhea pills, but they were completely useless. Long Fei's 1,000 Li pellet, just like its name, 1,000 Li 1 and 1,000 Li 1, did it want to stop the diarrhea? It was impossible, and what alchemist in this world would place their experience on a pill like the healing pill? Guo Ling screamed miserably, but it was pulled on his pants again. Everything was as usual. Long Fei arrived at the room of martial arts training. At this moment, as the all-knowing scholar of the God Rare sect, LV Shuangquan was surrounded by people. You all don't know, but at that time, it was so fast that a burst of power from the lightning directly blew senior brother away. At this moment, that powerhouse directly carried senior sister, and with one step, he soared into the sky. That scene is beyond your imagination. It's too cool. He's so handsome that he's practically a scum. What do you mean by a hero saves a beauty? That's what a hero saves a beauty would be. The cannon shot continuously rang out. LV Shuangquan's mouth was like a machine gun. LV Shuangquan, how did you know? A disciple asked. LV Shuangchuan said. There is nothing that can be hidden from me. What's more, I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. When he heard this, Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. LV Shuangchuan had a complacent look and said, If you don't believe me, you can ask senior sister and see if I'm wrong. Many disciples of room of martial arts training saw Long Fei walking over. One of the disciples immediately laughed. This nominal disciple left with senior sister, the one who saved the beauty couldn't have been him, right? Him. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The crowd immediately burst into laughter. Their faces were all filled with disdain. Him, a nominal disciple whose talent has been crippled, would have died a long time ago if it wasn't for senior sister who helped him block the palm strike from Guo Ling. Wouldn't I be a super great god if he was the hero saving the beauty? Exactly. I'm still the savior. LV Shuangchuan did not speak, but looked at Long Fei. Long Fei also looked at him. At this time, an elder shouted, You don't even need to cultivate? The rookie selection is in less than 3 months, and you still have time to chat here? Everyone immediately dispersed. The elder glanced at Long Fei and said, That person is a nominal disciple. Long Fei looked at him. That elder immediately said, Yes, that's you. Long Fei walked forward and said, Elder, my name is Long Fei. I don't care what you fly. Guoling can't come today, but you, the punching bag, can't stay idle. I think that's it. The elder was filled with disdain. Long Fei clearly knew that he couldn't come. Within 3 days and 3 nights, he couldn't leave the toilet. But, be a punching bag? The elder looked at Long Fei and said angrily, What kind of expression do you have? You don't want to? At this moment, Bawang Hua walked over and said, Elder Wu, what have I comprehended from yesterday's dragon's roar subduing tiger fist? I want him to practice with me for another day. When the elder saw that it was Bawang Hua, he immediately smiled and said, It's Bawang Hua, then go train with it. Bawang Hua was a seated participant. Ordinary elders didn't dare to rashly offend him. Bawang Hua looked at Long Fei and said, I don't want to practice in such a noisy place. Follow me. After which, he walked out. This time it was the more remote woods. LV Shuangchuan slightly smiled and thought in his heart, I didn't see it clearly yesterday, is it you? However, to be able to make Bawang Hua fall in love, this is great news. As he spoke, he secretly followed. It was also at this time. A few disciples once again silently followed him. They lost him yesterday, he definitely wouldn't do that today. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.